Damage taken. Okay, I can play this one and try to exile it. Exile success. I make this look easy, but this was completely luck. That I had this in my inventory. So yeah. Full despair. Oh no. No! It does not stop. It does not stop. He will show everybody this chapter and then tell everybody, yeah, I'm writing a book. I'm writing a book. But then it's not... like his motivation is deflated because all of the excitement was wasted on everybody telling him that he is going to write a book and he already wrote his first chapter. What you need to do is you need to work in quiet. You just need to work for yourself, not to get external validation. That is usually how you get over that. But also finishing stuff. Finishing is very important to learn. So that is why I always encourage people to finish what they start. Even if that means they have to put they have to cut out a lot of the things to get it to be finished. But finishing things, especially as you said, for a portfolio is very, very important. According to the legends, it was written in a single night by a sinful monk who was trying to redeem himself from guilt. In despair, the monk turned to the devil, who helped him in exchange for the devil's portrait in the book. Therefore, it is also called the Devil's Bible. So according to the legend, this book was written in one night, like for sure. And this is the devil's portrait. I took a screenshot of the monitor there because you could not actually open it, of course. But yeah, this is a little devil. Isn't he cute? The portrait of the devil is the most famous image in the Codex Gigas. According to a legend, the scene game was made in one night by sinful developer. Yesterday I had pumpkin steak. Yes, pumpkin steak. It was very, very good. Let me just show you. This was pumpkin steak. It was completely vegan. But this was the steak that I ate yesterday. It was so good. Also, this salad is so good. Oh my god. Give it to me right now. So lecker. Oh my god, this is the salad. The salad is so good. If you ever want to go there, Max, this is this is Frittatensuppe. This was in the Winzerhof. And then you're like, wait a minute, I cannot even add anything anymore without adding new bugs and stuff. So sometimes you just gotta sit down and refactor, right? But you know what the most painful thing about this is? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. No. It's like when you tell your customer or your players, yes, I just refactored the entire class and it's now super working well and whatever. Players will be like, well, okay. Alright, but where's my content? Where is my update? And you're like, well, this was all in preparation for the update. It just took a long time. But the value is really hard to convey with stuff like this. Have you played Ball X Pit? If it crashes, you are 100%. Yeah. If it crashes, I will give you VIP. I will give you a sub, actually. Okay. Okay, this is saved, so if it crashes now, I will give Nick a sub. Let's see. It did not crash. Unfortunately, it's not the lane function. I'm sorry, Nick. But it's not that. But it was a good call. It's like you were this close. Like it is the function right above it. That's you know, you were not that far off. It's like sales. So if you make weird games, you make weird games for the target audience that likes these sort of games. You can make games targeting other people that do not like weird games. So in terms of selling better, it always depends. Also, you can never predict how a game is going to sell. You can never predict it. Like, look at Concord. They thought they had a Star Wars on their hands. Concord was supposed to be as big as Star Wars for Sony, and it completely tanked. And it was a big team. This wall of lava lamps is really important for the world. Lava Rand is a hardware random number generator designed and trademarked by Silicon or whatever. It operates by digitizing the chaotic patterns of warm wax blobs oozing inside of a array of lava lamps. So basically, they have a camera on this wall with a lot of lava lamps to make random numbers. So this wall is really, really important. It's really, really important. It's in the headquarters of Cloudflare. Yeah. Random is really, really hard to do. And then it should automatically be applied to a blessing in the lower right corner. I think so.
Shut up.
Alright, let's see if that's the truth. What's gonna happen? Start. I think I need a new save. You're gonna oh my god, I have to go through the whole thing. But it's not that long, right?
They just redeemed the sound effect that said "shut up." That's why people are laughing. Okay, but it worked. It is running in the lower right. When I stood there, I was like, "Oh my god, there is a boss in the basement. I better not go down to the basement." Isn't that crazy? It's the elevator, yes. Isn't that insane? There are a few more like that. I mean, this is just a close-up of the... We were actually in the elevator too. The elevator is really old. it's very old. But yeah, you also recognize the staircase, also in the game. Very, very cool. And this one... This is the park that is also... I mean, this is... If you see this is just pure graph here. If this was a dark photo, like at night, if this was at night, this was, yeah, it would just look like a graph here screenshot almost. Isn't that cool? Ludwig says, I hope it doesn't get crowded with VFX if there's too much going on. That is something that we are very aware of, I would say, and we will definitely have to keep that in check, right?
So I think VFX gets misinterpreted as this like things everywhere takes over the screen, but it's more about communication. Like the way I'm looking at this, if you notice, like I even suggested a UI solution for things, because for me, my job is communication. I just need to make the, like when you're gaining a despair, feel like you actually did the bad thing. And when you're gaining faith, it feels like you did a good thing.
Well, I still have this one. Incinerate 6 and heal 6. Oh my god, this might actually be my... Hello everybody, how is everybody doing? Why are you guys so big? What the hell happened to you guys? Who fed you past midnight? What the fuck is going on? Hello Nixon Ali, hello Jack Neck, how is it going? Hello Renapunk. Hello everybody. Yes, today is indeed podcast time with MadChirpy. We're going to talk about scope management. We're going to talk about scope creep. Here's a fun fact for you guys. You cannot put creep in the title of Twitch. It is actually against, I don't know if it's against the terms of service or whatever, but they will not allow you putting creep into the Twitch title. It's it will not let you paste it and save it. It's actually insane. I love that movie. First horror movie I saw as a kid. Oh, dude, I love Gremlins. Automod probably doesn't like the word. Yes. And apparently, according to Chirpy, the other word that is not allowed is coward. I don't know. I guess there's a long list of things that you cannot put into the title here. What if I'm streaming Minecraft with the creepers? Is that allowed? That is what I mean, creep by itself. I mean, what if you are playing a tower defense game and you're hunting creeps? What if you're, I don't know, the creep is not just, it's always because some like 0.001% of humanity is doing some stupid shit, and now we cannot put a simple word into the Twitch title. It's really, this is why we cannot have nice things. It's really amazing. The creeper, yes. Today we're going to talk about the scope creeper. Whenever you're making a project, it will sometimes appear behind you and will be like and then it will explode your project and then you will never be able to finish it. I think that's a good way to look at it. Yeah, just because of all the creeps. Exactly. When you're making a project, it will explode. Exactly. Exactly, Nixon. That's exactly what's gonna happen. Yeah, how was everybody's weekend? I just realized it's Monday, which means there's a weekend behind us. It's kind of crazy how that works every goddamn week. What did you all do? I worked on games and did some Chinese lessons. Went to the gym, enjoyed a bit of nature. In general, just I thought I would take this time to get certain things done. A lot of bureaucracy. I hate bureaucracy, but sometimes you just gotta sit down and go through it. I had, I think at some point, 40 unread emails, which is, I think, a new record for me. Usually I'm very adamant about clearing them out, but they just piled up over the week. I did not go to Hardesay, but I went to Huygen and just chill a bit yesterday. You also fixed some bugs. Yes, Jacknick is putting up bugs in a Fate in Despair, left and right. It's really, really cool. I also thought about going to a public viewing event here in Vienna to, watch the last match. But I'm really glad I didn't, because it was boring as hell. It was the Argentinian team didn't even shoot one goal, and the Spanish one, I mean, they kind of shot 3 goals if you count the ones that were not counted, but it is kind of insane how I think Messi is the first person who did not shoot a goal or whatever in the WM final, something like that. I don't know, or the first team in the final. I've been playing quite a bit of Palworld. That sounds good. My friend got me in something of a project, I suppose. We will have to see how it goes, but at the end of it, might have hardware upgrade. Okay, nice, cool, Nixon Ali. Doing a good job expanding your project portfolio. I finished my second Gundam. It's so amazing. Tekken is still on the Gundam train. I like it. Do I need a new hobby? There it is. I thought about acquiring new hobbies, but I feel like I'm doing quite a lot at the moment. I feel like I don't have really a lot of time for a new hobby. I don't know how many lessons I can put into a day. You know what I mean? You ordered 2 more yesterday. At some point, you gotta show us a picture of those, Technic. At some point, you gotta paste a picture of those in Discord and let me know. Let us all see it. But yeah, no, I think the weekend was relatively fine. It finally cooled off, guys. We did have one more, I think like 34 degrees or whatever, and then yesterday it cooled off, and it now has 25 degrees. It's almost like a bearable weather. What is going on? What's the correct channel? Oh, I thought you could just send it to me in the correct channel in the Halfquick Discord is, I mean, share your creations or wholesome haven or media or maybe meme if you think it's a joke or just put it in the launch if you want. That's fine too. No, I think, you know what, put it in the Halfquick Discord because maybe other people are interested in that as well. Basically, you are buying a laptop motherboard with a pretty decent specs. A friend in Moscow will be checking it tomorrow, and if all is well, he will be picking it up. Cool. After that, well, it's making a chest for it of sorts, and past that, there will be something of a new PC for me. That sounds really good, Nixonati. Bearing Core, hello, your hobby is sitting. imagine your hobby being standing. You really gotta be into it. I mean, can't believe it's Monday already. My vacation is officially in and I would have to go to work tomorrow. Ditch. Yeah, that's the thing about vacations, right? Everything that has a beginning has an end. This is you right now. True. I mean, a lot of people really like sitting. Some people might say it's a detriment to humanity. I think it's really good. I think the fact that somebody invented it at some point in our history is like plop, and it's like, wait a minute, I can do this all day. I can sit here all day. This is amazing. Guys, look what I found out about this body. I can do this all day. Have you tried it? It's crazy. I'm less green and more naked though because of the emote. I mean, we cannot verify that. So, you know, on the internet you can just see everything you want. You might be more green and more naked. Who knows? Otherwise, I've been wiping floors last week. Though I cannot remember, me I've already told about it. Yes, I think you told us about mopping the floor. Yeah, I think there was another story attached to it. Something with birds. Pick is on the Discord. Let's see. Pick is on the Discord. Let me find it. Discord. Imagine being like the first person to do a somersault and being like, what the fuck? What the fuck can we do with this body? Share your creations. There you go. Okay, let's check it out. Wow. Unity stream. Let's check next Gundam. What the hell? Wait a minute. Is this so do I imagine this like Lego where it all fits together, or do you have to use a lot of glue? How does this work? Are you gluing it all together, or is it kind of a Lego stacking system? So who of them was the first? That is what I want to know. Who of them was first? I need to take a look if Chirpy has written to me. Who of them was first? Fire Gundam, indeed. Now that you have made your own Gundam, are you gonna go to Japan? Are you gonna go to Japan and maybe check out the big Gundams? No glue, no paint. It's kind of like Lego, but you do have to clip the parts out from a sprue. I've never seen or heard or spoken that word before. Wow. But yeah, that's cool. So you don't have to do anything else. No other things required. Just buy it and build it. That's very nice. It is very detailed too. Incredible. Incroyable. Anybody else into Gundams? Anybody else into building something? Oh, the cool keyboard in the background. I have an ergonomic keyboard, which is kind of required for my poor old hands. It's great how it just clicks together and everything is still movable and possible. And there are way more detailed ones on there. Nice, that's really cool. So it is kind of like Lego for adults. I mean, Lego is already for adults in a way. Some people never grow out of it. I guess you just attach their parts to each other at the points, yeah. Post them as if they're playing badminton. That is a really good point, Jack Nick. Listen to Renderpunk and post them as if they're playing badminton. And send us another photo. Man, I love that keyword. TKL and flat but still mechanical but silent. It is mechanical but silent. Yo, what? Wait a minute. I was not aware of this. I was not aware of this possibility. I always thought mechanical always makes a lot of noise. Like there's no silent mechanical keyboard. Are you telling me there is a silent mechanical keyboard? Like how silent are we talking? How silent are we talking? Are we talking silent in terms of the sound the truck makes when it moves backwards and it's like beep, beep? Is that the amount of silent you're talking about? Or is it actually silent, like you're standing in the forest and there's nothing? You just hear the leaves rustling in the wind. Japanese mechas are so superior to Western ones. I kinda agree. Where's chat? There it is. Japanese mechas are superior to Western ones because they're just large people. Whereas Western mechas are just Javet tanks with guns for hands. That's kind of true actually, yeah. Japanese mechas are like guys in futuristic knight armor. I'd say it's more like a ball joint doors for a man, I suppose. Yeah, if it has balls, I guess it's for men. And the green one is the new one, blue one is the entry grade and the way simpler. Ah, the green one is the new one. Okay. The blue one is the entry grade one. Ah, yeah. Blue one is this guy over here, right? Yeah, it looks a bit like this is for 16-year-olds and this is for 40-year-olds. I mean, just based on the colors alone. If it has balls, it's for men. Next rabbit hole. So there's blue switches which are extra loud, red which are extra silent, or just silent, but don't have a bump you can feel. And then there's brown which has the bump but not the click. Okay. You would have to build a tiny record for them first. I'm sure they can build. They can play badminton with the swords. What do you think? It's like something like that. I'm sure it's possible. Brown switches, blue switches, and cherry switches. Yeah, that's how it goes. You think you've heard of those? Oh, I have not heard of those. That is news to me. Let me open up Discord on the second monitor again. I'm really excited, guys, because not only because of the podcast today, but I'm planning to do more now that the weather is better again. I'm planning to do a few IRL streams, and there might be one on Friday. It depends. You know, like kind of a walk and talk interview with somebody that I know here in Vienna. We will see. We will see. It's still up in the air. It's something that I just recently thought about. But yeah, now that the weather's better, and I'm actually excited because I've bought new IRL hardware. Because here's the thing, with this mobile phone here, this is the S25 Plus. I get a maximum connection of 3. If you really, but that's kind of the limit already. Now, if you want to have more connections, you kind of need a Bela box and also some kind of, you also need to have your PC running at home, and then you get all of your signals to your PC at home, and your home OBS then puts it all together and then streams it to Twitch or something like that. So I've bought some new hardware that might make it a little bit better, hopefully, so I will have to do some tests. We will see. You posted a picture of the, I don't know what that word is. That's crazy. I think I've seen some videos on YouTube in the past of a guy building his own keyboard for something. Cool. I'm sure that exists, yeah. Cherry is a brand. Brown, blue, and red is the type. Okay. That is a lot. Whoa, what is that? What is that link? I'm scared of Reddit. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Linear is no bump, no click. Okay, but so here's the thing. Isn't the clicky thing the exact reason why people buy mechanical keyboards? So would somebody who really likes mechanical keyboards even buy one of these two? Wouldn't they all just buy the clicky one? That's my question. I realized that once creators, hardware is everything. I'm in the midst of upgrading my photo gear and there's such a huge leap forward in hardware technology. Exactly. I'm not, so here's the thing. I'm a huge believer of you can do whatever you have currently. You can do whatever you want with whatever you have currently. So you don't need the latest technology, right? But here's the thing. If I want to keep doing IRL stream, I need more connections, and there's just no other way around it. I really, really want to have IRL streams that are stable. So, yeah, I think there's no way around it. I've done some IRL streams using this phone, and I now understand what I want to do. I now understand that I like doing those. And so now I was like, okay, you know what? I like doing it. I'm going to invest a little bit more into it and see where it goes. See if I then still like it. No, I will still like it. You buy mechanical because it's more precise and longer lasting. Oh, okay. And you buy blue if you want it click and hit the people sitting next to you. Exactly, yeah. Dude, going into the office and there's people with a clicky mechanical keyboard. It's like, yeah, this is what I missed. Yeah, okay. I mean, membrane versus mechanical is still a legit matter. Membrane keyboards are pretty silent, but if one button breaks, oftentimes you need to replace the whole thing. When a mechanical, you cannot just replace the switch if just the key breaks. Okay. All right. I mean, I'm stuck with this keyboard anyways. I need an ergonomic keyboard. Unless there's an ergonomic mechanical keyboard, hit me up, but I don't think there is. And this one is really, really nice. It is super easy to type on. The armrest over here is super nice. I just really, really like it. There's no, ever since I bought this, I don't have any wrist problems anymore, which was a huge problem in the past. You just triggered my office PTSD. Yeah, we had a team lead sitting in the middle of the room with his mechanical click all the time. Some people have no awareness of how much they impact other people around them. It is a shame, but it is what it is. Pretty sure they're ergonomic and mechanical keyboards. Okay, they're probably more expensive. Yeah, I can see that. But yeah, here's the other reason. So for the IRL streams, I want to do one IRL stream in Bangkok, in Thailand. That is another reason. I'm so sure I will need more connections. Maybe, okay, on the one hand, maybe the internet is really, really good there. And I kind of think, be a cameraman, I kind of think, okay, let's be totally honest. I think the internet in Bangkok is gonna be better than the internet in San Francisco. I'm just putting it out there. But still, I want to have more connections. Clicky sounds is a whole topic in its own. People stick various materials onto the keyboard frame to get the perfect sound. Oh my god. They're tuning the keyboards. Don't you... Sometimes you just gotta sit down and be like, you know what? I really admire humans. They're just so irrational and fun beings. Just so cute little monkeys. I love it. I'll be your cameraman. Yes, please. As long as they don't stick things that aren't supposed to be there. Like what? Like what, Nixon Ali? Gundam parts? Jackneck, did you put Gundam parts onto your keyboard? My mechanical keyboard is tuned to F sharp minor. They're tuning keyboards now. Imagine being in an office and at some point you're like, putting your headphones down and then you go over and then you tap this guy on the shoulder and you're like, sorry, dude, but your keyboard is out of tune. What are you doing? Your keyboard is out of tune. Can you please fix it? There's a dial in the back where you can tune it. Okay. Thank you. And then you go back and put your headphones back on. It doesn't elaborate, leaves. Oppa, Gundam parts. There we go. Nope, I need all of the Gundam parts to build more Gundams. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm thinking right now if I should do some errands and code a bit, or if I just start building another Gundam. That is a beautiful choice to have, Technic. A beautiful choice to have. What do you guys think is scope creep and how do you avoid it? Do you, in any of your projects, or have you ever encountered scope creep? I think, I don't think I have ever... No, actually that's not true. I think I have seen scope creep in reality, yeah. I think I kinda did. Yeah. I'm in favor of Gundam. I think I've gone a scope creep several times doing writing, yeah. Oh, doing writing. I was like, are you making a joke about a character in your story? Is that what it is? Can you please explain what a scope creep is? Okay, we are going to explain in the episode at the beginning. But basically, scope creep is, so you're defining a project that is within your scope, and everything that falls out of the scope is scope creep. But the devious thing about it is that you're currently maybe not noticing it, that it is scope creep. And we're going to define it in the podcast in the beginning, and then we're going to talk about how you can avoid it, how you can see if you're in scope creep, if your project has scope creep, suffers from it, and then maybe try to give some tips on how to get out of that. But basically, it's you wanna make a music track, okay? And then it's like, yeah, but you know what? I'm gonna build my own guitar. But to build my own guitar, I first have to fell my own tree and turn it into wood for the guitar. Before I can do that, I need to go and live in the forest. And before I can do that, I need to go earn enough money so I can do that for the rest of my my life. Before I can do that, I need to find a job that pays me enough. You know, this is kind of like you just wanted to make a music track, but you end up being so sidetracked that you're never finishing it. Scope creep is when you buy this next. I really should do others to me or just build one leg. Just build one leg. Just out of context, this is really nice. A couple of my older writing projects died because there was a lot of plans to get into the story, but just kept growing while projects got increasingly exhausting, draining me. Yeah. Scope creep is when you buy this next. Okay, let's speak on it. I mean, no, scope creep is when you buy this and instead of finishing it, you restart it every time, or you break off an arm again because you think it's not perfectly aligned, and then you put it back on and you keep doing that because it's not perfectly aligned. And then it's like, oh my god, and now this one is perfectly aligned, now I have to put this one on, off and on again. And this is scope creep. It's like, oh, you're stuck on one specific part of the project and you're never getting out of this loop and never getting to the entire thing again. First you have to plant a tree, therefore you have to travel 30 years back. Yes, I just realized that my previous job was just never-ending scope creep over and over again. It do be like that sometimes, yeah. I think for me scope creep is basically when it is very different for creative projects, I think, because there's no clear goal. You can have a vision and stuff like that, right? But it's like, yeah, I wanna I don't know. We will see. Would be if you thought it was a table figure, but it was actually a one-to-one garage kit. I think of scope creep when you're implementing stuff in your project that are in the nice to have category. But here's the thing, for creative projects, sometimes adding a nice to have thing actually makes it really good. So this is, oftentimes it is very hard to say, but I think the way to avoid scope creep and still have a few nice to have things is if you say, okay, I want to have this nice to have thing, but I'm gonna find the least amount of resistance in implementing this. So the easiest way to do it, so that I can go back on track. For me, it's more about doing stuff that is not necessary but cool, but therefore skip the important stuff you would actually need in your game. Yeah. But then you do get stuck on it because it's like, the problem with scope creep is that you're going from this to this. So you're here, right, in the south, and you want to go north, and you need to go north to finish the game or to finish the project or whatever. But sometimes you're here, and then you take on a task that takes you here. It just, you go sideways, and so even if you work a lot, that doesn't mean you're taking steps forward. That is the thing, scope creep. So it doesn't mean you're stuck. You're still making progress, but you're making kind of like sideways progress. All right. MadChirpy is about to join. Let's see. Schauen wir mal, ob das funktioniert. Okay. Session should be ready. Let's see if the session still works from last time. Okay. Click on the other pics of the gun and it looks insane on the armor, okay. It looks insane under the armor. Oh shit, you're right. That is kind of insane. Okay, let me see. Doesn't MadChirpy need an invite link? Or is he able to join? Otherwise, here's the link. Okay, let's go to full cam view. The merchants. We will see, we will see. Okay, but yeah, I think I'm really looking forward to this topic. The anticipation. The anticipation. What is going on over there? Can somebody check? 1-to-1 would be about 18 meters tall. They have some standing around in Japan. Yes, that is why I thought maybe you will. Do you wanna visit Japan one day, Technic, and see the Gundams for yourself? I really wanna go to Japan at some point. Very fitting for a garage kit. Sure. Bien sûr. Can somebody check on Chirpy's stream and see what's going on over there? Can somebody spy on him? Yesterday, I saw a video yesterday of human-sized one and they called it diverse-sized. The fuck? Okay. Okay. So, we have this. We have this. We have this. The anticipation. He's just sitting and menacing me. Oh. Lost in context. Oh, I don't have no details in the. Oh my god, in the Vollkampf hier. I'm so sorry, Nixon. Does it work now? God damn it. Wait a second. Wait a second. Ah, there he is. Wait. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can indeed.
I will move into frame. Holy echo. Echo should be gone now. Thank you for the follow. I'm going to do this. What? Oh man. Hold on 1 second. How is it looking for you?
I think it's all good on my end.
Wait a minute. How do I record again? Hold on 1 second.
Strange buzz in mothership sounds. It sounds a little holy. Wait.
Holy? Oh.
Oh wait, I think. No, I need to mute this. So I just gotta remember how I set this up, man. I think is that better, Wakacha? I think I doubled up the audio.
Okay. Test. Wait a minute. What is this here? You know,
That's better. Okay. Nice.
How do I? How do I turn off the redeems? I'm a new streamer.
What are you using for your redeems? Do you mean on the Twitch native ones?
No, the channel redeems.
You can turn them off individually. What I did instead, if you're using Twitch alerts for the redeems, I just turned off the alerts for now.
Ah, that's what I meant. Yeah. True.
So then in the stream manager or whatever, in the creator dashboard, you have alerts, and then there's a little toggle.
Ah, cool.
Just below stream manager.
Okay. Should we start streaming together?
Yeah, we can do that.
All right. Can I do this? Yes. It should be live now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm gonna mute on that as well. Yeah, that should be good. Are we connected?
Yes. Should be yes.
Looks like it. Nice. Oh, that's muted. We're just making sure I'm not picking up audio from the Twitch call or whatever.
Sounds good. Test. Do you guys hear any echo like last time? Test.
Testing.
It should work, but you never know. Maybe some settings reverted or whatever. Wait a minute, auto gain control on again. Oh my god. Did it not save that? I'm gonna turn it off. Yeah, it is what it is. Hello, man. Hello, gentlemen. Additional controls. Audio settings. Compressor, auto gain off. I'm just gonna turn this off all the time. Do we have an echo? No, I don't have an echo like last time. So
yeah, I mean, because sounds good here.
Because I heard it last time through your mic as well. So I think it is better now. Okay.
Are we ready to get into it then? Audio is perfect.
Audio is perfect. Well, that I think is a good signal.
Indeed.
Wait a minute, before we start, Chirpy, are you ghosting me on Discord?
What do you mean ghosting me on Discord?
Because I have sent you like 1,000 messages in the past week and you have not responded.
This is pure fucking propaganda. I responded to every single message. Absolute propaganda here.
This is where you just start the podcast.
Yeah. Says the guy who's never online on Discord. Curiously
what do you
enough.
mean? Never online. What does that mean?
No, I'm not saying anything.
All right, who is host one now? Are you host one or is it me?
Yeah, sure. Let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Feature Complete,
where we talk about game dev and everything related to it.
I'm one of your hosts, MadChirpy.
And I'm MadChirpy, aka Philip. And today's topic is scope creep and scope management, right?
Indeed.
So the first thing that we want to talk about is what defines scope, right? In terms of our projects as well. And maybe you can start by defining it in terms of your project, like Shroud of Gloom, which is going to come out soon. And then maybe also go into what do you think is inside of the scope and what do you think is outside of the scope currently?
Yeah, so I think for my game, Shroud of Gloom, I've actually managed to keep the scope relatively decent. I think it's possible that I maybe slightly underestimated it, but it's not like it is a fairly small game. Like, because scope if we should start with the definition, scope is basically your plan for the features and the content in the game, right? Is that fair to say?
I think that's fair, yes.
So as someone making like a fairly linear point and click, which you can read as almost one input type game, I think it inherently is actually relatively small in scope. I don't know. What would you say about your game?
So the game I'm currently working on is still called Faith and Despair. It has been out since last November, and currently I'm updating it for the rest of the year. And I'm saying that because the updates that I'm currently working on, you could say that they were kind of in the original scope of the project. As I said so this topic kind of overlaps with the topic that we had last time. But the reason I'm saying it is that you have to have kind of a vision for the game of how it kind of looks like in the end. And that I think is the definition of the scope, because then it's like, yeah, you have a very strong goal, and then you can, every time you get an idea, then you can ask the idea, hey, are you part of the scope? Are you part of the goal of where we want to go or not? I think this is kind of how I would define it.
I think that makes a lot of sense, and maybe potentially an argument as to why game design documents are good, which is, you could argue that is like defining the scope before you start. Did you do a design document for Faith in Despair?
No.
Okay.
I didn't do a design document because, I did have a bit of a kind of a rough plan in the beginning, but I never really sat down and said, you know what, I'm going to have 6 starter decks. In fact, in the beginning, I was like, you know what, I'm going to have 20 starter decks. And I just it was a complete moonshot, basically. I'm going to have this and this and this. And in the end, it has like a fourth of what I initially thought I was going to add to the game. Yes, I mean, in terms of game design documents, yes, I think it can define the scope of a project. But, and here's another thing that I would like to say. In terms of creative projects, I think it is harder to keep a scope than maybe in a physical project where for example, you're building a house or you're building a pool or whatever. I mean, those can get out of proportions as well, but you have to have blueprints, and they kind of have to be like this, like what you planned. There can still be additional requests or whatever, but I would actually say additional requests during building a house is kind of like scope creep. But it kind of is, this is the thing that I wanted, this is the thing we planned, and this is kind of what it looks like. And in terms of a creative project, like making music or writing a story or whatever, or making a game, I think something that we also touched upon last time is the project will kind of talk to you. And even though you have kind of initially defined the scope or defined the general idea of where you want to go by the end of it, you sometimes will kind of veer off the path that you have decided to go on. Isn't it right?
No, I agree fully. And to actually kind of argue against myself here, I would say that's also my counter argument against doing like too strict game design documents. Because it can be quite nice to have a general direction and an idea of the game you want to do, the features you want to have, and so on. But, with the whole concept of prototyping as well as like actually making the game, like it's very hard to sit down and just idealize the perfect game in your head and then just go, okay, I'm just going to execute this perfectly planned out idea now. Like, I don't think in the real world, it doesn't really happen that way. Because as you said, the project is going to basically tell you where it wants to go. And you're going to realize that some of your initial ideas actually maybe doesn't work for this game and so on. So in terms of just to, finish on the GDD topic, I think the way I view it, I think they can be helpful to kind of maybe cement the original idea a little bit, but I also think that they should be fairly open-ended.
I agree. In terms of working as a solo developer or in a team, I think for a team, even if it's just 2 people or something like that working together, I think then having a central document to at least, always fall back on when, there's something up for discussion and nobody knows who's right now. And then it's like, yeah, but in the GDD, we decided that this is kind of the case. I think for a team, it kind of makes sense to have at least a little bit of a GDD. But again, as you said, it needs to be a document that is alive, that, just keeps being changed alongside the project.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. Like, if anything, that the GDD shouldn't be something written in stone that you necessarily always have to follow down to the T, but it should more so, it should grow and change with the project. I think that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we have defined what a scope is, or how we would think our projects have kind of a scope. I think so. The next point on our list would be, what is scope creep? And have you experienced scope creep before? Are you experiencing it right now in a project, or how would you define it?
I think I am in some regards, definitely. I mean, if I would, if we take the GDD back again, like I did make a GDD initially.
Oh.
And looking back at it now, it's not even remotely the same game as my GDD said. So I have definitely not changed my GDD with time. I wrote it once to kind of get my ideas out, and then I never looked at it again, and now the game is completely different. But I'm also not sure. It depends a little bit on how you define scope creep. Because for me, I think the way I would put it is that I think I maybe see it in two different ways, where scope creep is either something that, like a feature, content, or a system, whatever it might be, that you cannot afford to implement, or you're just like underestimating the time it's going to take, or like something along those lines. So basically, you're underestimating the workload. But then maybe more importantly, I think the other thing is also that it probably is a feature that's not inherently necessary. Like, if you're spending a bunch of time working on a feature that's not actually going to contribute to the value of the game, I would probably consider that scope creep, if you know what I mean.
Right. Yes. I would say, so in terms of going a little bit back to the definition of scope, what is also part of this definition of scope is what you just said, like what the project actually needs. And I think a big part of that, a big part of making a game, is also making sure that it's a good product. And I know this sounds kind of cold or whatever, because it's not really part of the creative process or whatever, but making a game also holds some expectations in the players, right? Because they expect a pause menu, they expect to be able to change certain things or whatever. And I think this is also inside of the scope. Like when you are working on a good menu or something like that, I think this is kind of not even nice to have, and I think this is an absolute must-have.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's like, I think you can say that vast majority of at least new developments and stuff, I would suspect heavily underestimate the importance of like a good menu and good settings in the game and so on. Because it doesn't feel like it might not feel like it's a part of the game itself, but it is inherently a part of like the project and the entire scope, right? And it does kind of, if anything, it's the first impression, right?
Yeah, the first impression is really, really important. Like people decide if they like something or not in like the first 2 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
It's you don't have a lot of time, especially nowadays. Time is very scarce nowadays.
I do suppose with the whole like the creep part of the word as well, there's something where I suppose it's something where it's not initially planned, and it's something that you kind of accidentally almost starts creeping in on you with time, right? And you start increasing the scope. But that's why I think it gets a little bit trickier too, because I wouldn't say, as to what we were referring to before, like the project is always going to change just because it wasn't planned out. And even though it's like a new feature, doesn't inherently mean that I would consider it scope creep.
Exactly. That is a big thing in especially creative projects, because sometimes you stumble upon these happy accidents and you're like, I really have to add this to the game because I honestly think this is gonna make it better. I honestly think, and this is, I think, a good way of estimating if something that you're gonna add is having a huge value or whatever, or is actually scope creep. Because if you ask, hey, what I'm currently doing, how much value is it adding compared to the time that I'm investing? I think this is very, very, very important to step back every now and then and be really honest with yourself. Is it really a good idea to add, I don't know, a local multiplayer feature for a single player adventure, point and click adventure? Probably not. I mean, it sounds kind of cool on paper, but it's not a thing. It's like, maybe Shaun of Gloom, local multiplayer. But yeah, you know what I mean?
It's a good point.
Yeah. So, I mean, I have thought of one example of where I think I could have stumbled into scope creep. For example, so I was making a Half-Life modification back in 2001, 2002, and very close to finishing. I was like, there was a part in the game where you were just walking around very wide grass fields and whatever. And I was like, you know what would be really cool? Windmills. Because I was riding the train every now and then, so every weekend to visit my girlfriend. And I just saw windmills every time, and it looks so cool and so majestic. I'm like, I need to add windmills to all of my grass levels. And I was like, okay, how much time is this going to cost me? Because I already had kind of a deadline. I think I had already announced when it's going to come out. So I'm like, okay, I need this in my game because I think it's gonna really value up these maps. But I sat down. I'm like, okay, what is the easiest or what is the simplest way to adding this, where it still kind of gets the idea across, it gets the job done, it adds the value, but it doesn't cost me a lot of time. And by the end of it, I was like, okay, I had just the simplest windmills in it, with a bit of a sound that I just copy pasted from another part of the project. And honestly, this part can now, it couldn't even exist without the windmills. Like, people recognize it because of the windmills now. So this is one example where I'm like, okay, this was really, really important for the project in hindsight. I didn't really know it back then. I was just like, yeah, this is kind of cool. And, but this is, you always have to ask yourself, okay, I want to add this, but what is the simplest way of doing this without, throwing the project into a rabbit hole or whatever?
I think that's the kind of tricky thing, though, because as you said, that might have been something that seemed like scope creep, but in hindsight kind of wasn't. So, but could it then also be the other way? Like, you might think something is a really good idea and it is going to add value, and you spend a bunch of time implementing it, and then in hindsight realize that, no, wait, actually, this was scope creep.
I have an example for this as well.
Oh, you do?
I've made a puzzle game, which was the game that I made before Faith in Despair. And at some point, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to add a level editor. A level editor always sounds kind of nice, because it's like, then players can make their own levels and this game kind of will live on forever or whatever. In hindsight, the only redeeming thing about the level editor was that I added a kind of a UI menu system or whatever that I was able to reuse in Faith in Despair. So in hindsight, it kind of helped the new project get off really, really quickly from the start. But in terms of was it worth it for the previous project? I don't think so. Here's another thing, a small thing. We even had to remove it for the console release because getting a rating for user-made levels is really, really difficult. It just, makes it very difficult in terms of, because people can just draw whatever they want, basically, right?
Yeah, no, I see what you mean. It's hard
to
not worth it. Moderate the content.
Exactly. But do you have your game is not released yet, but do you have like one thing that you think was kind of scope creep in retrospect?
Yes. I think I mean, you could argue that half my game is scope creep if we're gonna go by the unintended features, right? Because I've added a ton of stuff to it. But personally, of course, I don't consider it that way because I think a lot of the stuff I've added has had a direct impact on the value of the game. But one example that I did briefly mention last time as well that I think I would consider as scope creep is definitely the battery system for the flashlights. And it's interesting because I think I was trying to solve an issue in the game, but it was just the completely wrong type of implementation for it. Because the way I see it, I mean, I think part of it was also that, like, oh, it sounds cool. Like, oh, you got batteries and you have to handle your, you basically end up having like battery management in the game to make sure it doesn't run out and so on. But I think the root issue I wanted to tackle was having enough items to spread out in the house so there's like a reason to look around. Because for like the puzzle progression and so on, I only have a set amount of items that the player needs to find. But since batteries were consumable, it gave me an item that I could always throw out when I was like, it feels like there should be some reward for looking around here. So, I can just toss out a little battery. But then, when you start thinking about it, it's kind of insane to build this like entire system around like battery management and the flashlight when what I really wanted was a collectible item. Like the only thing I was looking for is something to pick up. And I built this entire system around it that in hindsight I think was completely unnecessary. Which is not only unnecessary, I think it actually decreased the value of the game. I think it made the game worse for multiple reasons.
I remember
think
one
the
of
main one being that, humans in general love min-maxing. And they want to min-max the shit out of everything.
Yeah.
So naturally what ended up happening is that, majority of players would play through the game without barely using the flashlight. They would constantly keep it off because they want to save as much battery as possible for like, in case I need it later. And, this causes a bunch of issues, even like meta issues where like some of the first YouTube videos that were posted are you can barely see the game because the person playing the game is walking around without the flashlight on when they're like outside a house and stuff, which is like the beginning of the game. The most important part of the video is like pitch black because they don't want to waste battery. And I tried multiple ways of combating this. I was like, okay, I'm just going to double the amount of batteries. I'll throw out batteries like everywhere, because obviously if people see that I have like 7 batteries in my inventory, they're going to use one, right? And then no, because people just love min-maxing. So in the end, I realized that the only like proper solution was to completely get rid of the system and then implement something that more so specifically targeted the issue I was trying to solve, which is why I now have collectible items instead. It removes all of the cons but keeps all of the pros, basically.
Yeah, sounds like you really found something that could have hindered your project even more. But I think this might actually go into the next subtopic here. Like, how do you figure out that what you're currently working on is actually scope creep? What do you think? Like, I mean, in your case, you kind of saw the YouTube players and whatever, but yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that is the trickiest part, because just looking at it in general, if you would ask any developer what they're working on at the moment, it's very rare for them to actually like fully genuinely admit that I am doing completely unnecessary scope creep for the game. Like most of the time we do think we are implementing something that's going to increase the value, right? Because the argument would be, otherwise, why are you really doing it? If you don't think it's going to have any impact on the game, then you probably wouldn't be spending a bunch of time on this.
I don't know. So, for example, somebody working on a fighting game or just a 3D action game, whatever, and then they implement a movement system or kind of a weapon system, a shooting system, and then you're like, well, it doesn't feel perfect yet. I'm going to rewrite everything. Because now that I've learned and now I know so much, I'm going to rewrite everything from scratch. And now it's going to be even better. Do you think that's scope creep or not?
It's tricky because if I'm allowed to take a little bit of a cheeky take on it, I could almost say like it depends on the result.
Right.
Because I think that was maybe a little bit what I was trying to alluding to before or whatever, where like I think one of the reasons why it's so hard to figure out if something is or isn't scope creep is because you kind of don't know until the end result is here, or at least until you've battled it for a bit. Because like obviously when I was working on the battery system, I thought this is like the perfect system for my game. If you would have asked me, I definitely didn't think it was scope creep at that time. It's only like in hindsight that I actually realized that this is not solving the issue I'm trying to battle here. So it's unnecessary, i.e. scope creep. So I don't know. I think it's really difficult to, like, while you're in it, realize that this might be scope creep. I don't know. How do you feel like you go about it?
I think that so when I start a project, it is kind of hard to say, because we said in the beginning that for creative projects it is, I think, even harder to define than it is for maybe a software project where it already is kind of hard to define. You can't expect a certain result. Maybe a button is there, but a lot of things around it can explode. But for a creative project and for my projects, I think I always try to have a vision. So I'm here, right? I'm here in the south and I want to go north. Here's the finished project. And I kind of know how it is going to look like. And whenever I work on a task, I will be like, you know what? Is this going to take me a step further to the goal or towards the goal? Or is it going to take me sideways? Is it a side step or is it a step towards the goal? I think this is what I'm asking myself whenever I work on something. For example, I mean, bug fixes is a thing, right? If you're fixing a bug, you kind of feel like you're sidestepping, but it is actually good for the project because people will just uninstall or refund or whatever. So this is bug fixing is kind of within scope. I mean, this sounds kind of obvious, but even in bugs, you can be like, you know what, this is a really hard edge case over here. Not a lot of people are going to see that. Even then, you can kind of prioritize. But I don't know. In terms of, I always want to work on something where I take a step towards the goal. I think this is what I always prioritize. Now, you might say, does it really matter if the cards look good or whatever, or does it really matter if I redo the entire UI interface a third time? I think so. A lot of the reasons, a lot of the issues or a lot of the tasks that I did where I thought, okay, this is actually now something that I have to do, is because of player feedback. So I test something, I put out a demo, and then I get feedback. And if I hear something for like 10 times or 20 times, then I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I wasn't going to put this on the priority list. I wasn't going to put it inside of the scope. But external feedback is showing me this is really, really important. So this is now inside of the scope. This has to be there. And again, I mentioned it earlier. It's kind of like a must-have list and a nice-to-have list.
Yeah.
But yeah, how do you define it? So it is really hard to say. You could argue that, I don't know, adding voice acting or whatever to my game was not that important, but that was already past launch. So it is really hard to say. Before the launch, I was a bit more tough. I was like, you know what? I'm going to have this deadline. And until then, I got to do whatever it takes to get this done, no matter what. And if you're setting yourself a deadline, I think then you have to make really, really tough decisions. I think this is actually what wakes you up a little bit.
I think you did touch on something pretty important there, I would say, which is that I actually do think that playtesting might be one of the better ways to actually find out if something is scope creep. Because then you can see in real time whether this thing actually adds value or whether it's something players even want and so on. Because now when I think back to it, like the reason I realized that the battery system in my game was bad was directly because of playtesting. Because obviously I have a bunch of advantages here. I know exactly where all the batteries are. I know how long they're gonna last. As the developer, that's easy. So I wasn't min-maxing. I knew exactly how many batteries I could use and how much I could keep the light on and so on. But it wasn't until I saw people interact with the game that I realized that, oh, not only is this a potential unnecessary feature, but it's making players have an experience that I don't want them to have, frankly,
Right, that makes sense, yes.
I think maybe in terms of identifying scope, I feel like potentially the scope creeps that's the easiest to identify might be the stuff where the workload is just obviously too massive.
Yeah.
I think these other unnecessary features and stuff like that part of scope creep I think is harder, or when you're unsure if it's gonna improve or decrease the value of the game. But if you take something like let's say you're making a Pokemon game, and say that you want to have 50 creatures, do you want to do evolutions for them as well? In that case, okay,
yes,
how many do you want? You want to have 3 evolutions? Now we're talking 150, and then implementing the sound effects, the art, the animations. That can be something where it maybe is easier to spot that, when you start thinking through the actual implementation of it, you can be there's no way I, as a one-man team, is going to have time to implement all of this.
That's a good point. I think I mentioned it before. Originally for Fate and Despair, I wanted to have 20 or so starter decks because I thought it's going to be easy. And my main inspiration was kind of Balatro, where Balatro has very easy or very simple settings where it's now you just have 1 more gold at the start or something like that, very simple settings. But it kind of grew into something where people expected something different from starter decks. They thought of starter decks as characters to play, like in Slay the Spire. So I was oh, wait a minute. I cannot just do a simple one-liner here. I need to actually make sure that they feel vastly different, have different movesets and whatever. I actually feel like a character that you can play. This happened. So this is a bit of a weird one because, again, originally I thought I was going to add 20, but after implementing the 4th or 5th, I'm these need a lot more time than I thought. So I'm gonna release the game with maybe 5 or 6. Yeah, this is something.
But would you say, was that a workload challenge or more so a design challenge? Was it too difficult to make enough variety in it? Or do you think that it was just you would not have had the time to do it?
I think it's a little bit of both. You can sit down and think of I don't know, a bunch of starter deck designs. Now, whether or not they work actually is a different question. Mm-hmm. So the difficult thing about those is you kind of have to make a prototype first, see if they play well, and that usually takes a lot of time. Like sometimes, I will give you an example. The last deck that I added was the Gambler deck, where all of the cards have dice, and so there's a bunch of things that need to happen to actually make it a viable deck, or actually make it a solvable deck where you actually can deal damage and whatever. And that took a long time because I was like, I really like this. I really like that the cards have dice. There is something there. And it took me much longer than the first 5 starter decks, the first 5 characters, if you will, because I at this point I kind of realized that it needs to play really, really differently. It needs to offer new to, actually give the player value, especially at this point in the game. So I think it is both. So I realized that, okay, there's a bit of an increase in both design challenge and also in terms of time investment. So the more you add, the more different it needs to be, the more, I don't know, high quality variations of spells it needs to have, the more art it needs to have, because it kind of is exponential at this point. So I am going to add one more, but I am already realizing that I'm right, because this is going to take even longer and even more time to code.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I think generally speaking, the most dangerous type of systems and implementations, content, whatever it might be, are the ones where you might not realize that it exponentially increases the amount of work you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Which is
absolutely,
that's the ones that are the easiest to underestimate, I think.
Yeah. In terms of features that kind of were not as big as I thought, was adding voice lines. That was relatively straightforward. Originally, I was like, yes, I'm gonna add voice acting for 30 cutscenes. That is gonna be a huge time sink. But to be fair, I had a friend of mine work on the voice line, so that helped me a lot. That would have taken a lot of time. But even like on the coding side, it was like not even half a day. Just add a system and then put off the wave files into place. That I thought originally this was completely out of scope and would just derail everything. But once it's set down, and here's something actually that will help you in figuring out if something is scope creep or not. If you sit down and you think of a feature and you actually plan out all of the individual steps that you would have to take for this feature to be implemented, I think once you see this on paper, and I actually recommend doing this on paper with a pen, if you plan out the tiny steps, like break the task down in tiny steps, then you will see, wait a minute, over here in step number 10, it is a huge step that I completely overlooked when I originally thought about this idea. So if you just walk through it mentally, what you would have to do, I think this is one of the things that you can avoid scope creep. And then what you can do, you can plan around it. It's like, oh, step number 10 is kind of huge. What can I do to simplify it, right? I think this is like, a very true way of figuring it out.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Because I think a lot of the time if we start working on something that is scope creep, it's usually because maybe we haven't actually thought through the implementation of it enough yet. And just as a small side point, I would also agree that with voice acting, because I did end up adding that as well. It was something that I was very stubborn about at first. There's probably multiple clips of me out there saying that I am definitely never adding voice acting to the game. Now there's multiple factors to that, but in the end I decided that I actually think you can increase the value of my game quite a bit. And for me, I think it was incredibly easy to actually implement, because I already had a what I call a toast system in my game. As in, like, you interact with something or you click on something and there will be like a subtitle showing up as if the player is saying it. So I even had the lines in first person as if the character was saying it, just that it was only a subtitle you would read. And then, of course, I did the thing where I had the, a little typing effect instead. So literally all I had to do as soon as I had the voice recordings is to, maybe slight oversimplification, but I switched out the sound effect from typing to the actual voice line. I had all the triggers done, all the lines were done. Like it actually ended up being one of the simplest implementations so far.
Yeah, it's crazy how it goes sometimes, yeah. And it has a huge impact on a project, yeah. For sure. So maybe it's time for the last one. The last one is, so if you do realize you're working on something, or maybe your project is like stuck in this scope creep infested loop or whatever, how do you think you get out of it? I mean, it strongly depends on each project, but yeah, what do you think?
Yeah. So the setup here, first of all, is that you have, just that I think that is the hardest part, but at this point you have figured out that something is scope creep. And in that case, I would say it does depend a little bit, because I do think it's, if I think about like my battery system again, I think one thing that could be valuable is to maybe consider why you tried this idea in the first place. Because in that context, I realized that there was an actual issue I wanted to solve, or it was something that I actually thought would increase the value of the game. I just picked the wrong implementations. And at that point, I think that the solution would be to, try the other implementation, if there is one that actually fits. And if not that, then I think it's the, kill your darlings. You just gotta chop it off, get it out of there.
Right. I think you really hit the nail on the head here. You're saying, what problem are you solving? This is a very big question. Because, I mean, sometimes so let's maybe talk about Easter eggs, right? If you're adding Easter eggs, I think having Easter eggs is by definition scope creep. I don't know, what do you think?
What did you say?
An Easter egg is by definition scope creep. What do you think?
I'm not sure if I agree with that, because I think depending on the game, I think some games can actually get a lot of value out of having little secrets or Easter eggs and so on. Now, I do think it does depend on the game. I think maybe mine is actually one of those games where I think having little lore Easter eggs or little secrets here and there and so on actually increases the value quite a bit. It nurtures that curiosity about the world. So I'm not sure I would always consider specifically Easter eggs to be this scope creep. Why do you think that?
I'm just gonna say because sometimes when I think Easter eggs can be part of the core design. For example, you mentioned, for example, a Metroidvania kind of needs to have secrets because it's kind of like it is part of the identity of the genre almost. But if you're adding like an Easter egg where you type a certain word in the splash screen, it's like, who is it gonna really see at some point? I don't know. Is that scope creep, or is it just you having fun because you need to kind of vent and have a day off to do serious game dev work? I don't know. It depends. I guess one of the I'm trying to think of the biggest Easter egg that I implemented. One of the biggest Easter eggs that I implemented was kind of a tunnel that you walk through, and every step you play kind of a different piano sound, and you can walk through it for a very long time. So you play this really long song, and it actually loops, and it adds up to 3 layers the longer you go on. I think that was that was one of the Easter eggs where I'm like, you know what? I really enjoyed implementing it, but how much value is it gonna add? I'm not really sure.
No, I think that's a fair take, because I think in my game I do have a few of those. I have a few things that I've implemented I would consider Easter eggs, which I am honestly unsure if people are ever going to find. where and for those, you could argue it gets tricky, because I think if somebody does end up finding that little Easter egg or secret or whatever, I think that would be a really cool experience for that player. But it is probably fair to say that like 99.9% of players are going to play through the entire game and never see this. And with that in mind, yeah, maybe you could argue it's more so in the scope, in the vicinity of scope creep,
Yeah, but for those 1% people, it's gonna be a really cool thing, because they will feel really special, and that's, I guess, kind of part of why I make games, right? I was thinking of another example where a friend of mine was working on a racing game, and he was trying to implement. No, wait a minute. It was multiplayer only, and at some point he was trying to figure out a single player AI for the cars, right? Mm-hmm. And he was so stuck on it because he thought of this huge class and the very complex node system and whatever. And I'm like, and he really, I think he was like stuck on it for a month or two. And I told him, you know what, you really just sit down and think of the simplest way of making a car AI. What is the first thing that you need to do? As soon as the racing starts, the car needs to drive. That is the first thing it needs to do. And then you can figure out what happens if it goes into a corner. Well, just put like a corner node there or whatever that it drives towards. So you have like this array of nodes that it just straight up drives towards the next node. And then you have a racetrack that it just drives around. And that's it. You have the simplest AI racing, the racing AI that you can implement. And he's like, oh yeah, and then it's like within one day he had like a racing AI. And then you can work from there, It's, I think sometimes I do notice this a lot. Sometimes people start from the most complex solution to the problems. And then they get stuck somewhere because it is very complex. Maybe it's above the current level or whatever, because to do this, they would have to learn X and Y and Z, and they're not there yet. But I think really sitting down and again, like before sitting down and planning it out and seeing, okay, what can I do with my current skills, also could get you out of scope creep, because then it's like, oh yeah, I cannot do this, but what can I do instead? And would still work in terms of making the game like valuable or making it workable for the game. I think that's also one thing you can do. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think often and I think this is human to some extent, like it's just part of being a human. It's very easy to get a little bit of tunnel vision on the entire complex system or whatever it is, and like the end result of it. And that can feel kind of unmanageable. I think like in game dev and in a lot of ventures in general, like actually trying to break it down into like, what is the first step? Like, what is the simplest thing I can do now? And then I can figure out like how to actually improve it or whatever it might be.
We also mentioned playtest before, and I think another crucial component in, first of all, finding that you're in a scope creep and getting out of it is finding other game devs and talking to them about your project. Because sometimes, because you mentioned tunnel vision, that triggered that for me. Sometimes talking to other game devs who are maybe at the same level as you are, or maybe a bit above, and you tell them about your problem, and then they will look at you like with like this, and they're like, why don't you just do X? Or why don't you just do Y? And it's like, oh my God, you're right. It's that is something that happened to me a lot, even for Faith and Despair. I'm gonna give you one example. I think I mentioned this in the previous podcast as well. But at the beginning, I was like, I'm never gonna add art to the game because I don't know how. But at some point, I don't know who I was talking to, but they really said, you know what, you need to kind of figure out how to add art to the game. And that really jump-started me, because I was like, wait a minute, there's so much art lying around. Basically, there's so many artists who want to have the art in a game, who are maybe open to collaborate. And so I was like, oh, I don't hire somebody to draw all of these, and then it takes 10 years to make all of these, which is a lot of work, right? For an artist. Give an artist the task to make 50 images. It is a lot of work. And so I was like, okay, I just looked around, asked artists, and then, that was basically a solved problem. But that took me a long time, first of all, to realize and to get to a state where I'm like, okay, this is actually rather simple. You just talk to people. I know it's hard for certain people to get out there and talk to people. It was for me at first too. But yeah, so I think the learning from this is talk to peers, talk to other game devs, and tell them the problems, and maybe because of tunnel vision, as you said, maybe they will give you a bit of a solution there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's definitely something valuable, because it's like you never know if the person you're speaking to has battled a very similar issue as to the one you're currently working on. And, it basically goes back to the whole, like, there's no reason to reinvent the wheel, right? Someone might, like, you might be able to skip doing all of these mistakes or whatever it might be and just arrive at a good solution by taking some guidance from someone else, whether that's a peer or, whatever it might be.
Absolutely.
I think that's a good point.
So, what would be the final one, or the final topic that we would like to discuss? Or do you think we have outscoped?
So we talked about the definition of scope and in terms of our projects and overall how to realize when you suffer from it and how to get back on track. Yeah, I don't know if we ran through most of it, to be honest.
We ran through most of it, yes.
Yeah, so we underestimated the scope of, or we overestimated the scope of the topic.
There we go, yes. I mean, that is something that we also got to learn along the way, I guess.
Absolutely.
But yeah, what do you think? Should we end it here?
Yeah, I don't know if chat, if anyone has any questions, anything that we might have missed to mention.
Depends on the Easter egg had was Wakachos. Yes. Someone needs a lot of making a scope creep. True. This is something that happens to me sometimes. Sometimes people bring suggestions to me, and I go through it in my head of what I would have to do for this to implement, and then I'm like, it sounds really good, but I'm not gonna do it. I'm so sorry, but this is completely out of scope for me. Now, this is another thing where probably could be solved by thinking it through, and maybe it's not that big of a deal. But I would. Here's why. Okay, I just wanted to say that with experience, you can kind of estimate these things. But I'm gonna be honest, I still have no idea. Every time something comes along, I always estimate it or underestimate it.
I definitely think it is something that you do get better at, whether it's like gauging the time it's gonna take to implement something or the impact it's gonna have and so on. I did realize one thing that might actually be a good proactive thing to do to try and not fall for the scope creep. I think something that has helped me quite a lot is also being, I work a lot with constraints, and I think that helps me a lot. Like the fact that I have, I would basically put it as I have a lot of very strict rules about what I can and can't do in my game. And a lot of the time, I would say that makes it very easy for me to sometimes rule stuff off as like, I won't have time to implement this. Like an example of that is obviously I have a very limited color palette. I probably every other week or so get a question about adding like another color to my game. And that's one of those things where like it sounds like a very simple, small, minute thing, right? But I actually think for me personally, I think it's easy to underestimate how much work that might be, because for me, one of my like core design pillars is consistency. Like one of the things I value the most is that I want stuff in my game to be consistent across the board. So when it comes to something like, oh, in this specific case, it would be great if we could just add a bit of green, you know? But then the way I start thinking is, okay, but then I don't only want to have green in one specific singular circumstance in the game, because that feels out of place and odd. So then I need to start figuring out like, okay, where else can I add this color? And all of a sudden I'm realizing that like, I'm gonna have to like make up new excuses to put this color in more places just to make it feel consistent. I'm like, I'm not gonna do this, you know?
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
And maybe it sounds silly, just obviously I have like 7 colors in my game, so it's already very limited, but I think it helps me keep a bit on track, you know?
Yeah, I think you're right on that, because constraints is kind of like having a plan or having a vision almost, right? Would you agree?
Yeah, I would say so.
And so that really is helping you, stay on track. Yes, absolutely.
Because I think sometimes the proposal from a player also might sound very simple. Like it sounds like, oh, it's like in Sprite, literally click on a new color and add it, and then that's it. But I think when you consider the whole picture of it, it can actually have more impact than just that. Same thing with like, I don't have dragging in my game. It's a very literal point and click. There's not a single place in the game where you drag something. That's like, I don't know, maybe it would have been better to have it, but I'm like super strict about it. So whenever it's like a question of, oh, maybe here you should make it so you can drag this thing instead, I literally just view that as, if I'm allowed to be a bit hyperbolic, like it's just illegal to me. Like I'm not allowed to do it. But it's because I think it's also one of those things that is more scope creep than it might seem. Because it starts with, just this one puzzle, like maybe here you can drag this thing. But then it's like, okay, I have 20 other puzzles where maybe you should drag it, maybe you shouldn't. And then the question becomes, how do I clearly explain to the player when they're supposed to drag something and when they're supposed to click on something? How does the player know? How do I make that like consistent? And I think, this is something I have contemplated quite a bit. Going through that throughout the entire game, I'm like, I actually think it's a much bigger feature than people give credit for. If, with like consistency and clarity for the player in mind.
I completely agree. Like having support for both systems, clicking and pointing and clicking, as well as dragging, is you have to account for a lot of edge cases. I have done it for Fate in Despair because I've seen people wanting to drag cards because it feels good, but I've also seen people that click on cards and then click on an enemy or whatever. So I kind of, like, just from seeing playtests, I was like, oh my god, I need to support both cases. And that was a rabbit hole, absolutely. For this game, I think
that's a good way to tackle it, though, because you could argue that it is intuitive then, because whichever one the player tries, it is going to work. But I think it depends a lot on the exact, the exact thing you're talking about. I think with it was still a lot of work for you to support both of those systems. But from like the player perspective, I feel like it feels intuitive whether you click and place or drag it into place.
Yeah, I think that was actually a point I wanted to make. The thing that happened here was the expectations carried over from other games in the same genre. So if you were playing, for example, Slay the Spire or whatever, or Monster Train, I think in both of these games you can do both. You can both drag and also click and point and click. So when you work in an established genre, you kind of have to carry over those expectations and implement those as well. I think this is also a kind of a must-have, because otherwise people will leave negative reviews if you don't fulfill expectations of the same genre. Which in terms of point and click adventures, I think that's totally fine, right? I don't think a lot of people would expect dragging there, or maybe it's like a small percentage.
Yeah, I think it does happen. There's definitely places in my game where I can sometimes notice a player try to drag something. And looking at similar games, if I take something like Rusty Lake, for example, the Rusty Lake series, I know they have like puzzles here and there where you do drag something. But then they might also need to have like a actual UI element show up to like show you that you're supposed to drag this. And, for me, that's another one of my very strict rules. I want to have as little UI as possible to, encourage immersion for the game. And I think like in my case, what makes me feel fairly confident that this is a good decision is that, yes, there might be a place here or there where a player is going to try and drag something. But when I never, throughout the entire game, allow them to drag something, they're gonna figure that out fairly quickly, because
I think so too.
Yeah, because then it's like after a while, it inherently is going to be obvious that you just can't drag stuff in this game because it never works. Whereas the issue if I would support both, I think, is that like I just don't know how to make it intuitive which one you're supposed to do in which case, because there's a lot of moments where I think I couldn't allow them to do both. And in that case, how do I actually explain it? I think it becomes a really tricky like design question.
Mm-hmm. And it becomes very confusing for the player as well, which is not good. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Oh, yeah. It is also because in your game, it is not the main part of the game. That is also something that you're taking into consideration, right? Because the inventory, like you do not, like interacting with items is not something you do very often. Like the main game is clicking on the backgrounds, clicking on items on the background, right?
Yeah, I would say so. It's like exploring the environment and like just clicking to interact with things here and there. Because that's what I would say, maybe, I don't know if that sounds lame, but that's basically the core mechanic in the game, right? It's the thing the player interacts with the most. And I think maybe that's, I assume that's the point you're making. I think that's different in your game where the cards is the thing players most often interact with. And I think maybe it's more expected there that you should be able to drag them as well.
Yeah. So one of the, I think this is the last example. The one thing that really cemented that I had to implement dragging as well is that people select a card and then they just drag it a little bit. So they kind of, have this tentative consideration of maybe playing the card and then they're putting it back. And this is, so they kind of want to hold it and, think about playing it. And it's like, am I going to play it? And then they put it back into the hand and then they're dragging the next one. So it is kind of part of the thinking process or part of strategizing where they just drag this card out of the hand. So they kind of bookmark it in the mind. Yeah, this is the card I want to play, but what are the other options currently? And then they're putting it back. I think this is kind of part of it. I don't know.
No, I actually think that makes a lot of sense because it basically allows the player to kind of practically or like visually think out what they want to do. Do you allow, I can't remember straight off the top of my head, do you allow reordering the cards in your hand as well?
No.
You don't? Okay.
That is scope creep.
Fair enough.
That is scope creep.
Why?
You would, thinking about it, you would probably have to. Anyways, I think this is the end of the episode. Why don't you take us to the finish line, Chirpy?
I think we've gone on long enough. This has been another episode of Feature Complete,
where we talk about game dev and everything related to it.
we will be back in 2 weeks again. So
All right.
Until then, thank you guys very much for watching.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Chad. Bye, Chirpy. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Cheers.
Alrighty then. Hello, how's everybody doing? I thought Game Engine is supposed to make basic things like Dragon easy. You would think. Wait a minute. I'm gonna catch up with chat a little bit here. I work with constraints also. It's 150 language spoken with 10 people about the game. Yeah, Slay might be onto something here. You totally can play Metroidvania without deviating from certain routes, like speedrunners. You won't exactly miss on the story. You'll be finding optional upgrades. Alright. Will Hornet still be Hornet if you don't get good? Would Styx be bad without a Guramana? I have no idea. But yeah, in terms of making dragging easy, Robert, it is unfortunately not true. It's unfortunately not true. Because I think the main issue with dragging in engines is you still have to figure out what happens when you move this object over this one. What happens, which item needs to have priority in terms of displaying it in the layers. Then you need to see, okay, is it always draggable? There's a lot that goes into it. It is not that easy. And if it needs to work with other systems, for example, you have cards, so you need to arrange them in a certain way. And when you track something out, does it mean the other need to be arranged immediately? What happens when you put it back? There's a lot that goes into dragging. Like maybe the UI system of Unity has a few helper functions here, but I also kind of wrote my own, so that also made it a bit more difficult. Hello, Darth Blechman, how's it going? We were watching your talk. Nice. It looks like Zane is gone with Chirpy's chat. Yes, I was still reading it. That was really insightful. You put a jumble of unreformed thoughts ahead for the longest time with the proper words. Nice, cool. Glad we could help. Oh, this discussion was really not going anywhere. Alright. But yeah, that was a podcast about scope creep. And we are going to open up Unity and do a few more small things. But first, I need to take a break. So I will be right back. I will catch you right after that. Oh my god, I need to take the hydration break out of the interface. No! Oh no. I'm gonna start Unity while I'm gone. Greetings! I think TTS is back. Try it out.
Nick Sinelli summons text-to-speech say, Alexa, play Despacito.
T-test works, yay! I cannot make his... You cannot talk through my fridge, that's true. All right. What do you guys think about the podcast? How did it go for you guys? I'm glad you cannot talk through my refrigerator. That's really good. We're going to take a look at a small thing. Hang on a second. Everything is out of control here. Out of order. Let me close this. That's fine. I hope everybody had a good time doing the podcast. Also, please check out this album. It's really, really good. Just a random thing. And again, YouTube feature complete is the YouTube channel, guys. Check it out. The next episode is going to be uploaded soon. You were cool in 2017, Robert. What happened? What happened to you, Robert? We're gonna take a look at two things. First of all, longer tournament list gets cut off, which is reported by RenderPunk. And second of all, we are going to add a stack limit. So you can no longer generate cards on the lane when you have already 20 on the stack. I think this is you didn't stand for yourself. All right, Rupert. All right. What is that? Oh, okay. We're talking about mechanical animals. Okay, let me see. Can I stop this? Yes, I can. Can I exit the scene? No, I cannot. I'm gonna leave it open. I am going to leave it open. Are we on Spotify yet? No. Anyways. So the first thing we want to do is add stack limit reached, which is going to be, it's going to require a new localization setting. Just wanted to see if I'm actually here. Yes. Cool. And the setting is stack limit. Oh, I already have this. Stack limit reached. Okay. Yeah, because I already want to do it. Cool. Did you guys watch the past two football matches? I watched the one on Saturday. They had 10 goals. It was like... Do you ever get the feeling while watching the World Cup and whatever that everything is pre-planned? Kind of like wrestling? Do you sometimes get this feeling too? Because on Saturday, I felt like this was the case. I had this feeling a lot during the World Cup, but on Saturday I sat down and like everybody knows that the match for third and fourth place is really boring, right? Nobody cares who is third or fourth. What if Trump was like, you know what? This game is really boring, so why don't every team just hits the ball into the goal a lot? And the goalkeepers will be just a little bit more relaxed. You know, here's $1 million or whatever. They had 10 goals. It's crazy, Checkneck. You watched yesterday. Yeah. Yesterday was the exact opposite. Yesterday was the exact opposite. Man, I was sitting there and I'm glad I was doing something else while watching. Glad I was reading and stuff like that. But it was like, because I almost went to the public viewing place at a restaurant where I'm always eating breakfast. I was always almost considering going there, but I was like, you know what? Okay, here's another thing. Why why do you think you should go to a public viewing event if your country isn't even playing? Who is it? And then you're watching a game where there are no goals. I think you would be better off watching just the grass on the football field grow. Of course, there's so much money at stake. They cannot breathe the wrong direction because everything is directed beforehand. Yeah, I think so too, in one way or another. I don't know. It's just crazy to me. Like you can say that it's a conspiracy theory or whatever, but I think that there has to be something behind the scenes, right? Matches going for longer, more runtime for ads. Exactly, Random Punk. I mean, that's of course why we have the hydration break. But you guys had a pretty deep discussion this before. Yes. I also just had it running in the background while I was shopping Gundams. This is where it came down to. The World Cup is just background noise for people shopping for Gundams. That is what these people trained for all of their lives. Exactly. All right. So the first thing we're gonna take a look at is the stack limit. That's right. We're gonna open it up inside of our editore. Did anybody of you watch Odyssey? I heard it's a pretty bad movie. I heard it's pretty bad. On the other hand, I saw the teaser of the new Gollum movies, and apparently they were criticized for not being inclusive enough. And Andy Serkins was like, "What do you mean inclusive? We are adapting a book that was written by J.R.R. Tolkien. What do you mean it's not inclusive? We are." I think that was a good answer to that. Not that I'm against, including people. No. I also just had it. Oh, okay, not yet, but I heard it's pretty good. Okay, cool. You heard it's pretty good. I heard the exact opposite. I thought it was a disaster. Am I in the wrong bubble? What bubble are you in? And why can I not? Ah, okay, I'm in the wrong folder. I need to have a discussion with the card game manager. There it is. So what we're gonna do is this is actually gonna be a little bit tricky because, and we're not talking about whether this is scope creep or not. I think this is actually necessary. So let's plan this through. We need stack limit reached. Here's the thing. When you generate a card, for example, a demon. No. Yes, a lesser demon. And then you look for a place on the board. And all lanes already have 20 cards. Which means there's a limit, right? So what do? Do you A, put this generated card into your hand? B, put it into the deck so you might draw it later? Or, and I think this is the likely outcome, you destroy the card and just say no stack limit reached. I think that is what I want to do, because what I want to avoid is having really huge decks. I don't think this is I don't think it is good for the game. I don't think it's good for the player. I just don't think having 100 or 150 cards, 150 automatons that do nothing is good for you. So I think what is going to happen is the card will get generated, but if it cannot find a space on the board, it will just be return to the card pool again. I think this is what I want to do. All right, let's try it. We need more cards. No. You can have, so if you want, you can buy all of the cards in the shop and add it to your deck. I think that is still possible and still fair, I think. But having them on the lane, first of all, on the lane is not good for you. And summoning like an infinite number of automatons, demons, is also not good for you. It's not good for anybody. It's not good for the game, for the performance, for the player. This is why I'm gonna unlimit it. No more unlimited demons. And last time, or actually, I forgot to show you, but I actually fixed the loading thing. So in the previous stream, I was working on the loading screen and it was not possible to put it in front of the camera fade. And I figured it out how to do it. I figured it out. It is really cool. Let me mute that. Is it happening now? Yes, it is. There you go. See? Isn't it beautiful? Wow. I'm loading. There it is. The way I did it, maybe I will walk you through it. Why not? Just also because I need to remember how to do it in the future, maybe. The way to do it is, I'm gonna hold it. Hold. Wait a minute. Where is the main camera and the camera overlay UI? So you need two cameras. You need the main camera, which is on the default layer, and the culling mask excludes the new layer. You cannot see that. But over here I have camera overlay UI, which is a new layer. I think you can see it here. Layers. Yeah, you can see it here. You have to exclude from occlusion culling in the main camera, and then you make a second camera. And in this camera, you only render, in the culling mask, you only render this new layer, which is called camera overlay UI. You cannot see this, but it's the only one checked here. Now here's the thing. This was already done on Friday, but it was still not working. And what I had to do, and the reason why it was still not working is because I am using the fade material on the universal render pipeline. So the render pipeline is here. Wait a minute. UI render clean. There it is. So this one has the fade material. So whenever you change this, it fades the entire screen. The workaround to that is you just need to make a new render pipeline. You need to make a render pipeline that can then be attached to the new one. And in this case, I made this one. So you can see here, it is exactly the same as the clean UI render pipeline, whatever. But the difference is that it doesn't use the fade material. It just uses like the standard material or whatever. And then you go back to the loading bar. You set it to layer camera overlay UI. And in the camera, you set the renderer to the clean UI renderer. And then it works. I just realized the other thing that you have to do is in the pipeline assets, in renderer list, you have to add the clean renderer as well, so that you have both in the rendering list. That was a very long-winded tutorial, but now everybody knows how to do it, right? It will be on the test later. Anyway, I'm just really glad this is not working. Phew. Having this working now is also the reason why I can maybe, I'm thinking about doing that. I can maybe, say you're now going to chapter 3 while it is in the background loading the next map or something like that. But what is it for? I missed it. It is for, when you have a material that fades out your entire renderer. So fades out the entire screen and you still want to have something in front of it. If you still want to have something in front of it, in front of the entire render stack, then you need to have a separate clean renderer, a render pipeline. You have a separate camera that uses this clean render pipeline. And then of course you need to have a layer that this new object that needs to be on top of everything needs to live on, and the camera needs to have this in the culling mask. So these are the steps to do this. You can probably do it in a different way, but I think it works. Can't you have a full screen renderer feature? Maybe. I have no idea what that means. I have no idea what that means. If what you're talking about is an overlay camera, I tried that first. But my problem was that my camera was using the render pipeline, which was using a fade material, which then in turn turned everything black. So if that is what you mean, in the render pipeline there should be a plus in the bottom for effects. I think that is actually what I did. But let me see. I'm not Redner. Render. Render pipeline asset. Effects. I don't see it. So let's be honest. I'm pretty sure there are other ways to solve this. It works for this game, and I'm really happy about it. I'm really happy about it. Damn, ich hab nicht aufpasst. Well, dann kriegst du einen Fetzen. Normal mit den Demons, mal mit den Demons then? Yes. Ja, und Fetzen haben wir Schularbeit, Mama. We are not here to charge. I don't mind. You can charge me all you want. No add renderer feature. I don't know what to tell you, Darth. I have no idea. I have no idea. The way this works now is, again, you have the loading bar on a different layer, camera or overlay UI, and the second camera in the culling mask is only rendering this layer. So this is already what is happening, stacked cameras, and then you need two separate renderers because the first one on the main camera renders to black and the other one doesn't. And then it works. Good job. And I'm pretty sure there are other ways to do it. Just no. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. So, card game. Place card. On first free lane. Okay, we need to take a look at what this function is called. And this might be Exhume card from Ella Graveyard. It's only called from 2. Alright. In Summon Lesser Demon. What is happening here? It says generate creature, yes. Should no, place card on first lane. This is the enemy army, that's fine. Place summon on Ella lane. Okay. This needs to return a boolean. Does it go through all of them? Place Ella or return. It is actually kind of crazy how it can just return and then a created card just lives in memory and is never getting placed. It is actually that is actually insane. This is better! Just render, oh. Maybe it's because I'm not using Unity 6. Okay, but let's read through it. Draws objects and draw opaque objects and draw transparent classes. You might need to draw objects at a different point in the frame rendering. For examples, how to use render features. Okay, to add a render feature to a renderer, select this. Add renderer feature. Select render feature. Select stream-based ambient occlusion. It adds a render feature. Okay. Okay, I believe you, but I don't know how it solves my problem in terms of having an object that I want to draw in front of the camera fade. But it's fine. I will, I'm happy that it works. That is all I'm gonna do. There might be a perfect implementation of this, but it works. It's only supported full in 6. Ah. Oh, okay. I mean that explains it then. Yeah, Robot is being Robot today. It is what it is. So, we have placed someone on Ella lane. Create a someone in the same lane as it is. Okay. Picked lane. It does not have a picked lane here. Creature card could summon in the same lane as it is. What is happening here? Because it doesn't really... Okay, summon... Okay, let's go through it line by line. Summon entity. Summon lesser demon. Okay. Set to ally. Place summon on ally lane. Oh my god, this song is so good. A creature card. Oh, it just overrides picked lane. I see. Oh my god, that is insane. Nah, okay, that's crazy. Wow. I don't know if that's good. Oh my god, I just stumbled upon something that is really ugly. Hello, Arithmeticus. Perfect timing. Anyways, why am I overriding picked lane here? Why can I not just have a lane variable here inside of this scope? That is isn't that a good question, guys? Wait a minute, I need to turn on one of my fans. We're gonna have an ad break soon, unfortunately. Enjoy some ads. I wonder why that is. I wonder why I need to override picked lane here. That doesn't make any sense. Unless... no, that also doesn't make any sense. I was thinking about maybe because of the stack or something like that. We're not sure. But yeah, this needs to have... this is a bit of a refactor. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it. This might suck. Okay, I'm gonna say lane. What is picked lane? Ella lane. Chosen lane. I'm gonna not define it. Chosen lane is this. Chosen lane is not null. Chosen lane is this. Otherwise, place Ella or return. Because here... I know it's... Okay. Place Ella or return. Place card on active or first free lane. Are you saying picked lane is used here? No. Picked lane is not used here. It says get active lane, which is just active lane. Okay. No, that's really good. Get optimal lane to place creature. Alright. Yes, that's what I'm gonna do, Arithmeticus. I've done something similar, but if it's got you right, you wrote a script that inherits from script render feature that does what you did, using material to fade everything and then a layer mask to show what you want on top. If it's got you right. Okay, yeah, I mean that sounds, so from what I'm reading, that sounds what I have. Yes, a layer mask to show what you want on top. Yes. But you are saying you can do that in the renderer or whatever, right? Alright. Yeah, okay. Placed card. Alright, so here's the thing. Place and return. We can, so I have now refactored this part, a small refactor. And here we actually need to say bool placed card is false. Does this return something? Not yet. But I would say it's true in this case. Let's just assume it is true. And then we can say placed card is placed somewhere on Ella. This is going to be a bool. It is not, no. Jonathan Blow is not the inventor of Here's the Thing. It was invented by Monk. Monk said it first. Okay? This is not a Jonathan Blow thing. No. Jonathan Blow did not invent everything. If placed card. I think I'm gonna rewrite this. Successfully. I know it's a mouthful, but I think I will have a place card somewhere. We might actually, you know what? I might just return. If not this, I will just have a yield break. And this is where we have the card announcement. Debug log. I2 localize. We're going to use what we've just added. Stack limit reached. Fair enough. For now. We're gonna have a proper display of this at some point, but I think for now this should suffice for testing it. Should be enough. Okay, let's give it a try. Oh, it doesn't. Yeah, okay. Undev, I mean null. That was my Perl coming through. Chosen as this. Please add a return. This also doesn't have a boolean attached to it. That's crazy. Please cut this. Okay. Bool placed card successfully is false. I am going insane. It's true. This might be like this. It's gonna be a lot of changes here. Place card active first of free lane. Return. This needs to be a bool. Do you watch football, Philip? No. Do you? Return false. Return false. Return true. That is much better. Now this function actually does something. You watched some games in the World Cup. Oh, what is the World Cup? Return. Here you go. Return placed card successfully. There we go. Alle Verweise suchen. It doesn't really matter here, does it? Oh, it does. Kind of. Kind of. Okay. I need to add a function here. If, let's go back. We need to go back 8. It is once in a 4-year worldwide football championship. Countries compete in it. It is very prestigious. Oh. Interesting. It's every 4 years. I never heard about it. Every 4 years. Very prestigious. Do they have a lot of... I guess there's a lot of money involved. I cannot really do a function here on this. Unless... I don't know. Of course, the best sports betting sites made a fortune. Ah, yeah. Every 4 years, huh? I'm kidding, of course. Of course I watch football. I even watched the one in Norway live. I was in Oslo. I had a public viewing event where I saw this. It was insane. It was absolutely insane. Look at it. Every goddamn ad we had during the World Cup was for betting side. It is kind of insane how that goes, right? Here there were 50,000 people there. It was it was insane. Especially walking home with all of the disappointed fans. it was something I will never forget. Everybody was, trudging along and trying to find a taxi home or a bus home. Nothing was working. Dude, we looked at the Uber prices when everybody was walking home. It was like for a 10-minute ride, it cost 70 euros. It was insane, dude. So yeah, we it took us like almost like 2 hours to get back to the hotel. It was really, really cool. This is kind of what we saw for 2 hours. Like this was after the game, and after they realized they had lost. You see some Vikings over here, of course, but there's so many people over here. Do you see that? Do you see this throng of people? It was insane. It was honestly insane. But everybody was really nice. There was nobody was fighting on the streets. Nobody was shooting guns into the sky, whatever. It was quite peaceful, even though they were quite disappointed, probably. It was a really, really cool event. This was right near the town hall. This is the town hall in Oslo. And dude, it was a lot. It was a lot. But yeah, I also watched a lot of matches. Together with my wife and stuff. I watched the one on Saturday as well, and the one yesterday. The reason I watched the football matches is because it's always so interesting, like from a political perspective and from a cultural perspective. I always think it is very interesting, even though you might think about it what you want, but I mean, just seeing Spain against Argentina, if you really think about it, is kind of weird. Or what was it? Who played against Iran? Wasn't it? Yeah, I think wasn't it USA? Wasn't it USA against Iran? No, I think the simple fact that Iran was in the World Cup in the USA was kind of weird. So that is why I like watching those, because it is kind of interesting how it goes sometimes. All right. I don't really want to make a function out of that. Here's the problem, and maybe somebody in chat knows. I cannot make a function here that says yield return new blah, and if something breaks here, I cannot have a yield break instead of a yield return. So I kind of have a... This needs to be outside of the function and this as well. Okay, I'm gonna say show stack limit reached and at least put that in a function. It doesn't matter who lost yesterday, Spanish language won anyway. that is what I'm thinking. It was that is what I'm thinking. It is always kind of funny what kind of countries are playing against each other. And then it was France against Morocco, wasn't it? I think it was France versus Morocco. Yeah. And I mean, if you know the history of these two countries, it is very interesting. I don't know. I'm a little bit fascinated by that, to be honest. And you kind of, I always question myself: do the players on the field also have this feeling now? Because they probably know the history. Franco's thing was like 100 years war. This is what I'm saying. Like sometimes the teams playing against each other, they have a very complicated history. And I'm always curious if it shows in the way they play against each other, or if it shows in the aggression that they have against each other. But yeah, 6-4 is crazy, indeed. Let's not talk about history. I'm not gonna talk about your history now. Don't bother. Okay, the thing is, and yes, I said it again, that I have to do this everywhere. Wait, no, I cannot make a big function of this. Mid-century history. There was a guy. I don't know what you mean. There were many guys. There was this meme going around recently where at the top you had people falling asleep and then it says me while in history class, and then you had this really awake kind of figure and it said me watching history YouTube videos. And I kind of feel the same. In school I was never really interested in history, but now it's like, yeah, give me a 1 hour history documentary on YouTube. Give me an essay about, I don't know, the history of Japan or the history of Korea, the Korean Peninsula. Isn't that a great physicist? Yeah, there were many guys, a lot of people. The biggest Austrian achievement is to make the world think. The biggest Austrian achievement is to make the world think Beethoven was Austrian and Masterschap was German. Do you really think that was the biggest achievement? I think, honestly, our biggest achievement was Maria Theresia pumping out, what was it, 19 children to keep the country afloat. How many children did you have? 16, excuse me. Empress Maria Theresa of Austria had 16 children. It's insane. And she basically did that to save the country, because she married all of them off to other people, to other countries. I think that is a big achievement. I don't know about you, but birthing 16 children is crazy. The only war I care about is between Principality of Sion and the Earth Federation. Yes, those are the two main forces in Gundam. As far as I know. Not that you're into the law yet. You are in for a surprise check. No, I have no idea. I have no idea about the law. That is undisputable, the biggest achievement. I apologize. It is kind of crazy. You wish you had 16 children, Rupert? Really? Do you really? I still don't know what I'm gonna do with this, guys. We have this here, and we have it here. We also have it here and here. We cannot do this if it was not successful, and we can also not do this if it was not successful. So what are we gonna do? We can rewrite these functions. It's really, really ugly. But maybe we don't need it everywhere. Maybe we not need it everywhere. Let's just try it out. So right here, if placed card successfully, only then we're going to do this. I hope this is alright for future Philip. I'm very sorry in advance. It's just what it is. I'm gonna need this here. I'm gonna need this here. Then I'm gonna need the check here. I'm very sorry, future Philip. I'm so not sorry. Oh, if it's no, that's fine. That is fine. If it does not, I'm just gonna copy this over. It should work. How many millions would it cost? I have no idea. Do you guys remember 50 years ago, sci-fi authors were all concerned about overpopulation? I don't remember. I'm not that old. I wonder if the body just gets used to being pregnant after some point. 16 children is 12 years of continuous pregnancy. It is insane. It is insane. What if it wasn't herself having these children, Checknick? What if there's another conspiracy theory where they had several women in the palace birthing these children to keep the country alive, but it was not actually Maria Theresa. It was just all, veiled in secrecy. And then they just said that it was her children. I'm not sure that's true. But we do like a bit of a conspiracy theory here, right? Placed card successfully is false. How many? She only had one. She only had one, Rupert. Now he did go, I did see the musical, this is why this is in my head so much. But the husband eventually cheated on her. But did they actually break up? I don't think so. Oh, I completely mistyped that part. Did I? Yep. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Don't they all look like Habsburger? Yeah, I was just kidding. I was just kidding. But by the way, do you consider that an insult or? Some might consider it an insult. All right, Rupert. I'm happy to announce that I'm eating a watermelon right now. Life is good. I like the way you think, Renderpunk. I really like it. Sometimes you have to find the value and enjoyment in the simple things. You being able to munch on a watermelon is the outcome of many, many years of evolution. And you're being able to sit here and eat it. Isn't that amazing? And answer what you said or what I wrote. No. Technic. Is asking somebody that they look like a Habsburger is looking like a Habsburger an insult or not? Like if you see somebody and you say to them, you look like a Habsburger, is that an insult or is it not? What do you think? Are you a melon guy or a watermelon guy? I really like watermelon. So I'm kind of a watermelon guy. And I think in Chinese it's called xigua. Not that it matters. So funny to read old biographies. He cheated on her 8,000 times. He stayed married for 70 years. Poor women. Wait a minute. Is that actually what it says on Wikipedia or whatever about? Oh my god, that's crazy. 8,000 times. The only thing that I know from a musical is that there is a park. If you travel south of Vienna a little bit, I'm gonna show you. No, not Google Maps. Google Maps. I'm going to show you. There is a park a little bit south of Vienna, and it's called. Oh my god. Technic, help me out. You know what I mean. Luxembourg, there you go. Luxembourg and Schlosspark Luxembourg. Okay, so here's what you need to imagine, okay? You are the Empress of Austria and you have 16 children. And your husband is going down there to Luxembourg to the castle in Luxembourg, and you're having orgies over there constantly. And you're the Empress, and you're like, where's my husband today? I haven't seen him in a while. This is where everything took place. This is where all of the wild stuff happened. Can you imagine? You probably can. Let's be honest. But today it is a very beautiful park that you can just stroll through and have a good time. Do you even have a Wikipedia article? Damn. I don't even want to take a look. Yeah, that's what I mean, Technic, yes. Sometimes they give up on living. At some point they gave up counting. Yeah, I don't know where that number even comes from. It's the Austrian National Orgy Center. You went in the park today, Robert. That is nice. You're living the life, dude. Someone is a demon. Okay. I really don't like the way this is being used here. Is it really ugly? I'm so sorry for future Philip. He's gonna read that and be like, what the fuck? That is what it's gonna be. Summon entity. Oh my god. If not this, yield break. Also, stack limit reached. And there it is. I saw some ducks. Did ducks see you? I don't know. Mathematicus. You also visited a historical small church. Very nice, Rupert, very nice. The thing I still want to do in one of my next streams is I want to walk through Bratislava. And I wanna see the Brutalist architecture over there. They have a really cool hotel restaurant over here, a UFO restaurant that I wanna see. Here it is. Do you see it? You cannot see it. It's too small. Oh, there it is. It is a restaurant that looks like a UFO. Really cool. And there are a lot of other things that I'm really curious about. So this is what I want to do. And there is a streamer walking around over there who I hope I can collaborate with at some point for this exact stream. Oh, interesting. Yeah. I really look forward to that. There's a National Archive. This is one of the things I want to see. And modern shopping mall. I have no idea about this one. But there's another one. There's one more thing that I want to see. But I don't remember the name of it. Anyways, not important. Are you gonna go there by bike? No. No, not by boat either. I'm gonna go... That looks archive. Yes, it's true. The upside down pyramid. Yes, thank you, Jack Nick. No, I'm gonna go there but by train. One of my favorite examples of thing we take for granted is this very funny of Boris Yeltsin in America's supermarket. What is that? What is that? Wait, is that ice cream or what is that? And what is okay? What is going on in this image? I don't. What is going on here? Why does this image exist and why is he seemingly happy about ice cream? What is going on here? Didn't they have ice cream? Is that it? What is going on? In USSR, yes. They didn't have ice cream? What are you saying? All right, let's take a look at the next one. There were 2 empty shelves and 1 shelf with canned peas. Ah, okay. That makes sense, yeah. I was like, what is going on here? I can get so drunk here. From ice cream? Huh? Okay. Let's take that over to the next one. Placed this. Oh, there's a double entendre. Not a good idea. Yeah, we're also going to do it here. Pool successfully placed card is false. I'm gonna put this here. I know this is very ugly, guys. Future Philip has to deal with that, not me today. It's fine. Is this now? If it is not true, we're going to say yield break and show place limit. What is it called? Show stack limit. There it is. And if successful placed card, we're also going to do this. Now you might say I could just break here. And that is, and you would be correct. Supermarkets is cool if you think about it. Every food you can think of from all sides of the world, in and out of season, conveniently picked and placed. That is very true. My peasant grandfather would have had a stock in a supermarket. Crazy. I once read up on the history of supermarkets, like the first supermarkets and stuff like that, and yes. That is, I think it was a relatively recent invention too, right? I mean, obviously, but was it in the 50s or something like that? They're the best representation of a community and culture. Yeah, That is like a lot of people take for granted that we have avocado now in the supermarket. It's just lying around and you can decide if you want to buy it or not. But this is, yeah, one of the... It is actually, from what I've read, it is actually very hard to grow. Yeah. And you know the feeling, the feeling that I got when COVID, you know, the whole COVID thing started, and I went to the supermarket and I saw empty shelves. That is, when you're used to full shelves, that is very, it's very unusual. It's like, oh my God, wait a minute. There is something happening here that can affect the way I live or the way I survive. And this is why you notice, wait a minute, I live in a very big city with a lot of people. If panic breaks out, I assume the shelves are gonna be empty very, very soon. And that was the moment I realized that I think for the first time. Once people start panicking, I think it's over pretty soon. But you know, just be glad that they're not panicking. Just be glad that everybody believes that everything is alright. As soon as people start to believe that not everything is alright, in a big city, it goes downhill really, really quickly, I think. Indonesian supermarkets have alcohol behind curtains in remote small kabi somewhere, whereas our local supermarkets have vodka and beer aisle for miles. Interesting. Do Austrian supermarkets work on Sunday? Well, some do, but it is a very big question in Austria. A very big... So because a lot of supermarkets want to open on weekends, especially on Sunday, they are already open on Saturday. But Sunday is always a bit of a legal question because some political parties are against it, some are for it, and now you have the train stations, right? On a train station you have one of the supermarkets, but it is so weird because in theory it can be open all the time, but it has to divide its items for sale in a really strange manner. Like they have a made up or very unsophisticated barriers between the shelves, and if you want food you have to go over this side and you have to pay, and if you want something else you have to go here and this side and pay. So it is one store, but for legal reasons they had to split it up in the middle. And so this is basically the state of supermarkets in Austria. As long as we have enough toilet paper, everything is fine. True. Yeah, that was the big scare during COVID, right? It's so great that you don't border Russia. It is so fucking great. To like do things that affect my life. I know medicals, yes. I mean, in terms of, I can imagine. I probably cannot imagine. Let's just not talk about it. I don't know. I like this. Random Punk is like, some political parties are against me buying a watermelon on a Sunday. What's the reasoning? I don't know too much about it. But one of the things in Austria is we need to be... Sunday is a very holy day, not in terms of religion, also in terms of religion, but also in terms of, you know, everybody, a lot of people, not everybody, a lot of people still think that, oh no, Sunday is my free day. I will not work on Sunday. No, why would I do that? Even though a lot of people already work on Sundays. But I think this is where it comes from. I don't know. It is a very strange thing because if you go to Bratislava, which is like a 1 hour drive, you can buy everything you want, even on a Sunday. And then you're going to go back to Vienna and it's like, oh, everything is closed again. It is very strange. It is very strange. But I think the main idea is that it wants to protect people's working hours, even though, as I said before, a lot of people are already working on Sundays. And I really panicked during COVID. I always assumed that when shit gets really serious, the military or someone would take over and ration out food or something and they won't let me die. I like that. I mean, I kind of was the same, Checkneck. I kind of was the same. The only time I really panicked was when I went to a store, which is a really huge store, like the Interspar. And I saw empty shelves, and that was really crazy. I like standing in a big supermarket and seeing empty shelves is kind of crazy. And then it wasn't only the empty shelves, it was that you could feel how everybody else felt. Like everybody was in this kind of mild panic because, and you know, panic is very contagious. So everybody in the store was like running, walking a little bit faster, and then it kind of affected me as well, where I was like, wait a minute, I'm currently the guy who needs to bring back food because otherwise my wife and I were not gonna eat. This was always during COVID, right? So my wife was staying inside, and I said, okay, I'm gonna go outside. I'm gonna grab something to eat for the next 1 or 2 weeks, so we don't have to go outside. And this was a point where I was like, okay, wait a minute. Other people are getting all of the stuff. What if I cannot provide for me and my wife? This was almost a bit like that in that one situation. Now, while everything it was probably okay because we're still in Austria, but while everybody else was kind of panicking, it was kind of affecting me. So I was, in this moment, I was buying a lot more because I was like, you know what? If this is how it starts, I'm gonna buy so many things. I walked back with like 8 bags. It was hard to carry back, but I'm not gonna starve. That was my situations. And then we didn't go out for like 2 weeks. Don't you take away a free Sunday? Yeah, do you have more information on that, Checkneck? I think that is basically it, right? The watermelon revolution time. Everybody goes on the street and be like, I want my watermelon on Sunday. I want my watermelon on Sunday. Why can't people just work it out with the employers? Just have a checkbox and contract that says I can work on Sundays. The thing is, Random Punk, if you work on the weekend or on 3 days, on holidays in Austria, the employers need to pay like double or 3 times the salary. So it is I think also from this perspective a bit more difficult. It was crazy that the soap shelves were empty. Like, don't you guys have soap at home normally? Yeah, it wasn't even just it wasn't just toilet paper. It was the noodle section. Noodle section was, I don't know, they were almost completely empty. The beans section, you know, the canned food section, the frozen food section, like everything was on the brink of being empty, or sometimes even being completely empty. And again, people running around like they're having this mild panic because nobody really knew how it was going to end or when it was going to end, right? Or how far this would actually go. Or how you also heard about borders being closed. So does this mean there's no food being imported? What is going on? This was in a state or in a situation where there were a lot of question marks in the air. And it just, I don't know. Again, panic is contagious, and when you feel it from other people, it kind of activates your primal senses. Panic buying is real. Our buckwheat island was bare during COVID. Yeah. By the way, Hope currently has 5 kilo noodle packs. Let's fucking go. Honey, do you want to eat noodles today? I heard Hofer has 5 kilo of noodle packs. All right, I'm gonna get him. Bye. We're not gonna starve today. You're gonna eat 5 kilos of noodles today. Is that a grocery workers cannot bargain effectively? They replace the low-paid numbers so it is easy to build them to work on holidays. The bank collectively protects them. I don't know how sound is this reasoning. I don't know if that's it. I think Austria is just very peculiar in that regard, because a lot of other countries you can just go to a store on Sunday. And in Austria they're like, my Sunday. Even though, you know, there are numerous people driving around as delivery people. Nobody asks them if they want to work on Sunday, they just do it. Because they need the money. You know who suffered the most in our region? Bird owners. Bird food imports stopped, supply was dwindling, and prices were rising at an astronomical rate. Damn. Poor birds, honestly. Germans also like to store clothes on Sunday? Yeah, I don't know. We don't talk about Germans. Who talks about Germans in this chat? I don't care what Germans are doing. I don't care. Unnötige Zuwendung. You are unnecessary. You are unnecessary, Unity. Okay. This is indeed Halfquake. And you are here to die. You are here to eat 5 kilos of noodles. This is our dragon who ate everything. Successfully placed. Oh. Is this? Why can a bird food be grown locally? Isn't it just seeds? I have an idea of why it might not be possible where Rendapunk lives, but I'm curious to hear his response. Who ate everything? No. I think everyone's priorities shifted during the time. Fair. That's fair. That is fair. Yes. Place this. Yeah. Paste it. Boolean successfully placed card. Yes. Successfully placed is true. Successfully placed is this. If do this, and if it was successfully placed, this is so ugly, guys, but I don't have the energy to refactor this. Future Philip problem. Sometimes you just gotta do it. I finished the watermelon and now watermelon shaved. It is so weird to me that a watermelon is just basically water, right? But even if you eat the watermelon, you're still like, you feel so full. It's so funny. If successfully placed card. Do that. Oh god, what is this? This is random punk right now. Oh my god. Okay, we have one more. Wait, Oh, wait, what? That's it? Huh? Place on free lane. Is that it? Alle Verweise. Did we do it for all of you? Yes. Let's make sure that... here it is. Summon boss. Oh. I mean, that can never happen on the other lane. Can it? Let's see. Let's still do it. Who knows in the future what happens? No, it's AI generated. No, it's probably not. If not successfully... Wait, no. If it is successfully placed. What am I gonna do now, guys? What are we all going to do now? Now that the World Cup is over, what are we looking forward to now? What is the meaning of our life now? Can we just what do we do? Help. Why does it say unnecessary? Yeah, is it really unnecessary? It is, okay, never mind. Alle Verweise. Gundams, oh! Ah! So that is why you started now, because then you were like, now that I have my new obsession, the World Cup can end and I still have something to do. That was your plan all along. Drilling down to find dinosaurs in the Hollow Earth. That sounds like a good idea. Will you start? When will you start? And will you wear wigs? When will you wear wigs? News anchor crack. What is that? What is that?
Love of swimming, but one feline in northern Virginia
Oh my
is hitting the water instead of the gym in an effort to lose weight. Holly is a 13-year-old cat who dislikes the outdoors and other physical activities, but with encouragement from her owner and weekly visits to the Old Town Pet Resort. Holly has managed to lose 1 pound in 6 weeks. Stay with us, everybody. We've got a lot more to come.
It is so cute though. How can you look at it? Look at it. It's so cute. Oh my god. Ah, there we go. Oh, is it bordering and getting a job maybe? Oh. There's still F1 on Sunday. Is there ever a time where there is not Formula 1 on Sunday? I remember it always being an event on Sunday. Like my grandfather watched it religiously. Like everybody had to shut up. The TV was on 3 times the volume. Everybody had to watch it. Nobody cared except for grandfather. But it was his thing, you know. Sunday, Formula 1. There it is. Arithmeticus is very excited. Yes, they have a summer break and winter break, obviously. What do you mean, obviously? Cannot they? Why don't they have a Formula 1 event on the North Pole? What do you mean, obviously? I'll drop off, first off, stream ends, gotta do stuff. Have an amazing coding session. My guy, everybody, have a great evening. See you Wednesday. See you on Wednesday, Nixonale. Thanks for stopping by. And increasing your watch streak. I think I have gone through all of them now. Let's see. That doesn't need anything else. Yeah. And why is that on the next lane? It's driving me insane. Oh, it needs to be on the next lane. That is the normal thing to do. Okay. Was just one outlier. Also, the races are not every week, but they have over 20, so almost every second win. Ah. Not so obvious anymore, because the last race is in December now, I think. Oh. Oh my god. Dude, when I was in Oslo and we were walking through the Fram Museum, it was so cool to read all of the stories of the North Pole and South Pole explorers. Dude, those were some crazy people, man. Crazy people. I have a huge respect for them. And then you're walking through the ships and it's, you know, really tight spaces and they just live there for days, weeks, months. And if there's one guy on the ship that you absolutely cannot stand, there's nothing you can do against it. I mean, you can probably try to kill him. But no, that's not really how it works. That is, yeah, it was really, really insane. December 6th, wow. What were they expecting to find there on the poles? So from what I understand, first of all, it was about, you know, exploration and science and a lot of this thing, right? But on the other hand, it was kind of politically driven as well, because, you know, we are going to be the first country to be there, to plant a flag. It is, I think it's very much a basic thing like that. But I think they also had a North Pole race. History. There was a race began in the... No, there was one specific race where two different teams were trying to get there. I forgot what it was. Oh, also, dude, this is so insane. Dude, you have to see this. This is so insane. 1926, they had a hot... No, wait. It was not the hot air balloon. It was... God damn it. What was the other thing called? They didn't have a hot air balloon. They had a... guys, you know what I mean. The giant airships. They had a giant airship fly to the North Pole. What is it called? A blimp. North Pole, 1900s. It was the Notch. Yeah. Dude, this is insane. This is insane. There are no other pictures here. What the hell? But think about it. Notch was an Italian build, blah, blah, blah. They carried out the first verified trip of any kind to the North Pole on overflight in 1926. They had an airship fly to the North Pole. Like, this is like, I don't know, nobody really talks about this, but this is kind of crazy, isn't it? This is kind of crazy to me. I'm kind of sad that there are not more photos of this here. Dude, look at this. Into the Cold was an airship the first to reach the North Pole. Look at this. This is insane. I don't know why this fascinates me so much, but this is really, really insane. Like seeing these old photos of this flying around. "100 years of the Notch." Oh, it's real. I don't care about reels. Anyway. I once read half a book about the Shackleton expedition, so crazy. It's less about finding and more about being the first. Exactly, yeah. That's South Pole, Amundsen and Scott, that's where the Fram was used. Oh, they used it in the... Oh, that was used in the South Pole. So you're talking about the race, right? That was a race to the South Pole. Okay. Dude, there was so much information in that museum. At some point, you're mixing things up and you're being overwhelmed by everything. I will never understand people who do that kind of stuff, like climbing mountain peaks and stuff like that. I don't know. I think it is a very basic human thing, to be honest. Shackleton was then a bit later. He tried to cross the South Pole from one side to the other, but famous fate led his men through the ice for months without losing anyone. Without losing anyone? Oh, from what I remember, like the 2 expeditions that had this race, I think one of the expeditions had a lot of deaths, right? Imagine being a penguin, seeing this behemoth flying towards you. This is what I'm saying. This is so insane. You're here, north or south pole or whatever, and then you see this massive thing. I don't know. I have a special appreciation for airships, I think, because I don't know, maybe it's the RPGs and the fantasy of it. You know, planes are so boring. They just fly, you know. But airships, they have a bit of a thing going on. Like a steampunk kind of aesthetic. I think it's pretty fascinating to be the first ever person to do something like that. I think so too. Being somewhere where you know no one has ever been before. Yeah. Did you also see the Kon-Tiki right next to the Fram Museum? I did not. I think we looked at it on Google Maps and we were pretty dead after the Fram Museum, to be honest, because we spent like a lot of time in the Fram Museum. Amundsen made it to the pole first. Scott came a few days later, realized he lost, and then the whole team died on the way back. So this is, yeah. This is what I remembered. Okay. They also, I think I talked about this, but they also had this 4D cinema where you sat in a chair and you actually felt like you're flying one of the planes and you were actually crashing, and then you know, the whole seat was moving around and stuff like that, and they even like blew cold air into your face. That was really, really cool. And I think that was definitely worth a visit. I'm kind of sad that we did not go to the Viking Museum, which was also kind of around the corner, right? I'm kind of sad we didn't go to that, but I saw a lot of Viking stuff in Stockholm already, so I'm not 100% sad. I'm like just like 60% sad. It's fine. Okay, I'm gonna test this out really quickly and then see if the message is popping up in the log file. But I think stories like these, I think what is so fascinating about stories like these is that it is totally unimaginable, right? It's like a completely different world. We're sitting here sheltered with an almost like constant temperature, unless it's 40 degrees outside, right? And we have everything we need. We have food and we can do whatever we want. And then there are people 100 years ago exploring this, and yeah, it is really fascinating. And quite from, okay, it's not a blimp, but Kakovchanka is a passing machine to conquer the Arctic built by Soviets. All right, let's check it out. I'm gonna take a small break though. A small break. Oh my god, it looks incredible. What the fuck is that? Oh my god. Okay, we're back. That looks insane, dude. Dude, that looks like from Star Wars or something. That is very cool looking, for sure. Woman of Kharkiv. Ah, man, of course. That is what the women look like in Kharkiv. I see. Dude, that's insane. Well, there's only 2 pictures. Wow. The sequels. Wait. Where can I see the sequels? I want more photos. Wait, does this still exist? Kinda like this. So a version of the Antarctic snow cruiser was so much better than American. I really like that. The Colossus Soviet Antarctic cruiser is nice. Wow. Dude, this looks like out of a movie. And here we have the CCP. That's crazy. American Spirit, a truck with 4 large wheels and it got stuck in the snow. I believe it's still there. It sounds like what Americans would do. I guess it's stuck. Let's go. Who cares? I believe it. Who cares about this? Alrighty. So, do we have... can we end this turn? Then hopefully we get a card so we can generate something. Please. That takes a long time, but it is what it is. So we do have... I don't have anything here. Damn. Do I have even a card? Yes, I should have a card here. The version was much more ambitious, which, with the whole plane on top. It was called Antarctic Snow Cruiser. Oh, I see. All right. We should see some... Wait. No. Okay, it is actually generating the... Oh. Wait. Yeah, of course, because we did not... We did not actually check for the stack limit. Okay. Is the game speed set to 7 to something? No, this is a huge deck. First of all, it is a spell that generates a card and targets all. That is why it takes a lot of time. It is actually not lagging. It is just calculating, going through the, targeting every card and just doing whatever. It's not a performance issue. We fixed that. It's just a big spell. Okay. Let's take one more look. Place someone Ella lane. Place successfully. Place Ella return. Okay, over here. That is difficult. Difficult. Okay, if If chosen cards, total cards, is bigger than 20, then we're going to say return false. No, wait a minute. God damn it. If chosen name, okay, let's do this. And chosen name is smaller than 20. Let's do this. And then we're gonna have the same thing here. Get up to my lane. Lane is this. Return card. Oh. Oh. If target lane get total cards. Oh my god. Then we're going to say, oh my god. Return false. Okay. You got the solution for what? For being the first in the east pole? Oh, if cards created 50, game 1 you found the secret win condition? Oh shit, yeah, you're right. God damn it. Yeah, I'm going to put all the responsibilities of Faith in Despair 2 to check next 7-2. I feel like he's ready. He's always been ready. He was born ready. Let's test it out. Continue. I'm loading. I'm loading. Just have patience. It's over soon. All right. Press space to get the next thing going. It is lagging a little bit because there are 100,000 cards on the table. God damn it. Also, it lags in the editor. If you open up in full screen, then it lags less. See? The editor is sometimes really bad in terms of performance. Okay, we should not be able to generate any more creatures now. Please, God. Okay, it's still possible. Wait a minute. If cards is bigger than 72, lose game. Do not surpass the holy number 72. 72 is indeed a holy number, like 67. I said 67. My brain is officially fried. Alright, everybody, thank you very much for watching. This has been another podcast with Chirpy and a bit of a bug fixing today, a bit of refactoring. I will be back on Wednesday. We're going to raid Chirpy. I'm going to be back on Wednesday with more Faith in Despair. Maybe an IRL stream on Friday. We will see. It depends. It depends on many things, but the idea is there. Okay, but definitely a regular Faith in Despair stream on Wednesday. Alright, everybody, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you soon. 6-7 ends of the stream, exactly.